shake the light. I'll take the chance and roll the dice. Just wanna feel the stars surround, the atmosphere never to come down. I'll stand alone, whether right or wrong. It takes me home, right where I belong. Back down, only one way out. I'll let you run my life. Now you won't get me down. Untamed, guess I lost my mind. You turn me inside out. No one can stop me now. So turn up the light. Turn up the light. This is what I waited for. 'Cause the clock keeps ticking, hard for me to keep up. I can't take it no more. This is what I waited for. 'Cause the clock keeps ticking, hard for me to keep up. I can't take it no more. 'Cause the time keeps turning, feels just like it speeds up. Is what I waited for. Cold like falling on the ground. Long day, but we won't back down.
Good evening, peanuts, legumes, and everything else in between. Of course, I'm Jim Inesso, and tonight I'm joined by none other than the usual suspect, PK. How are you?
Good, a much wanted character. There's a few people asking in the chat if we were casting tonight. I think we've casted every game together. I'm not sure what other special appearances they were expecting, but no, it is Jim Nesso and PK here tonight. Bring you all the semi-final action.
Yeah, I think it's because we've had cameos.
Cameos,
Anyway,
yeah.
cameos
We've
on
had requests
other-
left, right, and centre to do special appearances. We're becoming quickly popular and famous like that. This is big.
We've had cameos on other casts. I think that's the
Yeah.
general confusion that's out there. But of course, we digress. We are here to bring you some fantastic Division 2 action from CGPL. Cracking teams tonight. We've got Trident and we've got Frenetic Array.
Not just that, but cracking circumstances. First semi-final. I mean, we started off with 16 teams, 2 groups of 8. We are down now to the last 4 teams, so this is so exciting. So we've really got some big names left in the competition, especially in this lower half of the bracket. I think that was probably, to be fair, the tougher half, so they've really had to earn their spot to get to this semi-final, and it's really exciting. I mean, the winner tonight guarantees themselves obviously a spot in the final, goes without saying, but also guarantees themselves some prize money, because first place prize, of course, is quite generously $1,500, but second place prize is still $800. So a lot
we
to
look
play
after our
for
Division
tonight.
2 players here.
Yeah, well, we don't, but
We don't. We just banter them, but
no, yeah, but someone does. But no, a lot to play for tonight, so it's really exciting. And first of the semi-finals.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, we've seen a lot of Trident this season.
Yeah,
We've seen not as much of Frenetic Array, of course, but
I think maybe one game in the regular season. Yeah,
yeah, but I'm keen to see them. Obviously, you know, they've done enough to make it to the semi-finals. That's good in anyone's books. I mean, obviously these guys don't see it the way that we see it. They aren't, unfortunately, sticking together as a team anymore. Frenetic Array, that is, after the season. But they're playing for another week.
well, that's a talking point in and of itself, isn't it? The fact that we're in a really weird situation. I think we were joking about it beforehand, in that I really can't remember the last time, honestly, where a team has almost died mid-season but kept on playing together. I mean,
kept
like
winning.
we said, kept winning as well. There were 16 teams. They've made it to the Final Four, but they've already announced weeks ago that no matter what happens, even if they walk away the victors, the team is officially dead. And that's quite a strange sort of thing. I mean, a few weeks ago, we saw Leap Crew bomb out in the quarterfinals, and I think the following day they died. Now, that's more of a normal sort of thing. You play, you lose, you're disappointed, the team breaks up. In this case, they're playing, they're winning, they've decided to call it quits while still winning. So, okay.
Just to keep things interesting, I feel.
Yeah,
You know,
of
as if things weren't interesting enough in Division 2. You know, they've gone and added a little bit of spice to the mix.
Yeah, no, it's great. So a lot of talking points, and I'm so excited that we got a chance, because these are really 2 big name teams, I think. I think if you were to ask perhaps most people in the know at the beginning of the season to pick out maybe a handful of teams that they thought might be able to make it towards the latter stages of the competition. I feel that Fray and Trident would have been two of the consistent names across the board. So this is a big heavyweight matchup tonight.
Definitely, and obviously it's all to play for because there are no third place playoffs or anything like that. This is it. You know, you lose, you go home, or go further home than you already are, and that's it. There's nothing more to play for next week.
Maybe if you've moved out of house, you go back to living with your parents. I don't know, there's something there, but that's it. This is do or die for them. And we saw how vicious and brutal this system can be. I mean, even in the first week, we were almost aghast at some of the results we were seeing, like big names like Atletico and Elite Crew. The two teams that went through the season undefeated were knocked out in the first round of playoffs in the quarterfinals. There's no second chances. So it's
a brutal final system.
It's
really
brutal, but I love it. It brings out the best in teams, and we've really seen players stepping up. It's great.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you've still got to beat your opponents in the BO3, and it's exactly what didn't happen for the teams that went 7-0.
Yes, which is, I mean, an amazing stat, but I mean, it makes for great viewing, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, definitely. Maybe let's take a look at how the teams got here.
Yeah, okay. Yep. So this is obviously semi-final stage, and given that only 8 teams made the playoffs, they've only really had to win one match so far in this playoff bracket to get to where they are. So Trident definitely did it the hard way. We had the privilege of casting their match last week, and it was a 4-hour marathon thriller epic. I mean, choose your adjective. I'm still recovering. Choose your adjective. That'll describe it. I think it went the full distance, 3 maps, but 2 of the maps were overtimes. I think on 1 or 2 of the maps, Tridents were down multiple match points and had to claw their way back in. I mean, you couldn't have asked for probably a harder road to the semi-finals. They had to do it tough, but hats off to them. They really showed a lot of heart and fight that night.
Exactly. You wouldn't want to be a Trident supporter with a heart problem because they would certainly test it.
Even as a commentator, I think we had our heart in our mouth for most of the night, but what a match that was. But I'm so glad for their sake that almost they've had that long layoff in between last week's quarterfinal and this semi-final, because I think it would have taken a lot out of them emotionally and mentally. So the fact that they've had now, a week and a half to sort of just chill out, doing their own thing, I think that'll help them tonight.
Yeah, I guess that could work both ways too. I mean, I guess it depends how regularly they've been playing together since that. But obviously on the upper end of the bracket, we saw Atletico and Vice Gaming. That was a real surprise package.
Well, it was, yeah. The favourites, I think, to take out the whole competition fell in quite demoralising fashion.
But if anything, that says to me anything can happen come Division 2 finals. So, I mean, I'm ready for a massive match. I'm sure you are too. So maybe let's take a look at the 2 teams as they line up tonight.
Yeah. So first and foremost, it's worth pointing out to everyone at home that Fray will actually be playing with a different lineup tonight than perhaps you would have expected or seen from them in recent weeks. I understand that Moo Juice will be sitting out tonight, one of their normal core 5 for most of the season, due to some work clashes or commitments of the sort. So Draish, I believe that's how I pronounce his name, Draish will be stepping in for Moo Juice tonight. So I'm not too sure what impact that might have on the team, given the fact that they played nearly 8 or 9 weeks with the same core 5, and they've now had to use one of their substitutes. But that's one big storytelling point for tonight for me. And also, I know we normally spend a lot of time, don't we, looking at the maps and what the different strengths are. But I almost feel, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I almost feel in this particular matchup, those numbers and stats are almost obsolete. And what I mean by that is, only 3 weeks ago, at the very end of the regular season, these 2 teams actually versed each other. We actually saw Fray beating Trident 2-1 in one of the final rounds of the regular season. Fray won on Dust 2 and Mirage, Trident won on Cache. Now, I think from that fact alone that just so recently they've played each other, I think that's going to play havoc in terms of what maps we can expect to play. Because I think that you can expect to see each team vetoing based on that recent performance, and we might see a few surprise packages come up in terms of what maps to play. I don't think we'll be seeing necessarily the strongest maps from each team based purely off that recent matchup.
Definitely. I think, we've casted Trident a lot. Their stats have flashed up on this screen so many different times, I can't recall. There are teams that are well aware of what Trident's strengths are and what they aren't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I saw Dan Forge in here earlier. I'm sure he was waiting for this exact stats page
I think he was actually PMing me yesterday for it. And I was like, Dan, I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to wait, man. I'm not too comfortable giving away that information. I'm impartial observer of this match. But you're right, Definitely. We do flash them up and give teams the opportunity. But I just think, I mean, look at the stats then. We saw Dust2 and Mirage, the maps that Fray won in that previous matchup. They had 100% win rate. So that was their 2 best maps. You can almost be guaranteed that Trident will get rid of that purely because last time they played, they lost on those maps. Meanwhile, Cache, Fray lost on. You can almost be guaranteed that Fray will get rid of that. So you're looking at the maps that are left where teams have won and lost on them. It's no clear-cut winner for me.
Exactly, and we must remind people too that the veto system in CGPL gives teams 2 vetoes straight off the bat. So essentially, a lot of these maps won't be played, particularly the stronger maps for these teams. So if you leave Cache in the bracket against Trident, I think you're a very brave man.
Very brave and very silly, but I don't see it happening. I think, I mean, the stats alone tell one story about how strong they are on it, but also the fact that Fray lost on Cache to Trident only 3 weeks ago. I think that's enough in their minds to let them think otherwise and to actually get rid of that map straight up. I don't think we'll see it tonight.
Exactly right. And look, I mean, is it too early in the mix to press you for your prediction? Maybe at least, what maps do you think would be played in this?
To be honest, I've got no idea. And I think that normally I like to have some idea, but I just think the fact that they played each other so recently is going to play havoc with this veto system and produce some really interesting maps, perhaps some of the newer ones like an overpass or a train that we wouldn't normally get to see these teams play on, but they're willing to perhaps try their hand and take that gamble based on their experiences from a few weeks ago. So I'm not bold enough to predict the maps. I think we will see some interesting maps pop up. I think in terms of the winning team or my prediction for how I think it will go, it's a really tight one for me. I think that I'm sort of stalling for time. You can tell that I am sort of in the mix here, but I think that
I can hear the cogs turning.
Yeah, the cogs are turning. What I suggest and what my heart tells me is I think that Trident showed us last week how strong they can be and how determined they are to just keep winning these games and keep progressing. I mean, they showed so much heart last week. And I think purely based on that, I know they've lost to Fray only 3 weeks ago, but purely based on that heart and that fight that they showed last week against Leap Crew when they were down and out, I have to side with Trident, I think. Purely for that emotional perspective. I'm disregarding the fact that they lost to Fray 3 weeks ago. That's a non-issue for me. I loved what I saw from them last week.
I definitely agree. It is going to be a really close match, and Trident are one of those teams that when you think they're down and out, they prove time and time again that they can come back from the precipice of defeat. And I think maybe, as we spoke about earlier, Frenetic Array's team arrangements, that they're not continuing at the end of this season. So maybe if they're put under a lot of pressure early by Trident, you might see them mentally concede. Which, I mean, obviously, it isn't ideal, but it is definitely something that may happen. So, look, I'm going to agree with you and say Trident, but I don't think it's going to be easy. Frenetic Array are going to at least take one map off them, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Trident come back from a few match points and take something into an overtime. So
I agree. I mean, even the strength when we're talking about these comebacks that they made last week, I think on Mirage, which was the second map, they were actually down 15-6. They strung together 9 rounds in a row against Elite Crew to take it to overtime. Ended up losing in overtime. On the third map, they strung together again another 6 or 7 rounds on the verge of getting knocked out of the competition to take it to another overtime, and then ended up prevailing. I mean, it was an unbelievable performance from those guys, and I just think that that's just going to give them so much confidence tonight.
Definitely, I'd have to agree. So definitely be an interesting matchup between these two teams. I haven't just quickly checked on the status of the servers yet.
No players. They're all watching our pre-game.
They're all watching the pre-game. That's it. They were waiting for those map vetoes and those map statistics to come out. But look, I think we must reiterate too. A few of our viewers tonight might not be aware that we've got a giveaway currently running.
Oh yeah, and it's a massive one at that, isn't it?
Definitely, it's massive. It's coming out of your wallet.
It's coming out of my wallet, so I feel that you should talk it up, because otherwise I might just get depressed halfway through preaching what it is, because I don't personally want to give it away, Jim.
He doesn't personally want to give it away, but of
my
course,
own item.
It is a milestone giveaway.
Yes.
it is once we hit that 750 viewer mark.
Follow.
Oh, sorry, yeah, follow mark.
Yeah.
Let's not, we can be optimistic like that and say 750 viewers, but 750 followers, and we will be giving away a golden coil minimal wear M4A1S.
Current market value is around, I think, 65 to 70 US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So convert that to Australian dollars, you're at $110, something like that, 100 plus. So enough to cover a carload of petrol for you if you decide to sell it off, given the cost of petrol these days. But no, that is one of the major giveaways. Mm-hmm. Fear not. I mean, hopefully, when we checked beforehand, we're only about 66 away. So get your friends, your mum and dad to sign up. Hopefully, we can hit that off tonight, because I'd be so excited to be able to start this semi-final series off with a nice almost reward for the viewers for supporting us all season long. I mean, we were here from week 1. We're still here with you now in the semi-finals. So we've loved it, and I'd love to be able to start off the semi-finals with that. But fear not, if by some horrible stretch of the imagination we fall just short, we do have a community giveaway donated by Brucey, a nice M4A1S Cyrex that we will give away as a backup plan. So definitely giving something away tonight, but fingers crossed we can give away the golden coil.
Yeah, give away the goods, but look, hit that follow button if you haven't already, and of course, as a bonus to potentially going to the draw to win this golden coil, you also stay in tune with the Australian Counter-Strike scene as well. So we're trying to cover all of the Division 2 finals right through. We've covered pretty much most of the season, as much as we could, thanks to the community votes. And of course, we're covering as much of the Division 1 season as we humanly can as well. So yeah, you will be notified, obviously, when we go live with that, and it is some fantastic Counter-Strike. And as we've seen previously, Australian Counter-Strike is on the up. I mean, Team Immunity taking, Cloud9 to the cleaners.
Definitely. I mean, there's plenty of good stuff to look forward to. And like Jim said, just to elaborate that a step further, obviously we're hoping to do all the rest of the Div 1 regular season, but we can confirm, happy to announce that we will be also having exclusive casting rights to the Division 1 LAN finals down at PAX, which will be wonderful at the end of this month. So Jim and I will both bring you that with the help of, I think, Defrag TV, which will be wonderful. And perhaps another one or two exciting announcements, which we can't quite reveal yet, but definitely some big things on the horizon as well. So we can't give away those secrets just yet, but no, we're here for the long run, guys. So if you like what we do, hit that follow button. That'd be much appreciated.
Even if you don't like what we do, hit the follow button.
Oh, yeah, well, that's probably more appropriate or more applicable in our case.
Yeah, you'd probably get a wider audience.
Yeah, probably. We'll probably get more
appeal to the masses.
What about in terms of something I feel that perhaps not everyone realizes at home? In that most teams, I think it's fair to say that in these days, the age range of the team, it's, pretty close, maybe give or take 3 or 4 years. Everyone's sort of that young teenager, except for a few old faces. That's sort of the norm you see these days. Fray. Whoops, as I hit my microphone. Getting too excited here at home. Fray, completely different. You've got players there. I mean, talk us through it. You've got players like Forge that are old school. He's 30 years old. Chuck is Level 16 30. Years old. Almost half his age. What do you make of this? I mean, this is a really interesting composition of players.
An interesting mix of experience.
Yeah.
And, of course, young talent. Now, since returning to the CSGO scene, Forge has been that player openly who's, fostered talent and likes to see himself as the player that fosters talent and brings them right through from, a relatively fresh ball of clay, and likes to mould them into players that he likes to play with. So I think, it's certainly, I guess, a formula that's worked for him. But again, time and time again, he's found himself the victim of poaching. He's done enough to, rear these players, bring them through the tough times and develop them, and then had them pinched from underneath him, unfortunately, a few times. But
it's got to be devastating.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, it's got to be devastating, but it's... I mean, Chuch, in this instance, he's the youngest on the team, 16. He's almost half the age of Forge, 30. So it's a huge different, not just in-game experience, but almost life experiences and perspectives as well. So it's interesting for me to see how that team gels together. And, well, potentially they're not a team much longer. They have announced that they're dead. Not going to hypothesize as to what the reason might have been, but interesting to see, at least for the last few games that we got the privilege of watching them as their current lineup and roster is. It's really interesting for me. That's something a bit different.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, if you're from around where I'm from,
Ipswich.
yeah, that age gap is usually the father-son age gap.
We have been known to be
So-
the father of a few members of the team before. Quite famously, when you used to play with JKS from Renegades, you used to be renowned, and your nickname was the father or the dad.
Dad
Justin.
gamer.
Dad gamer.
Yeah.
Because you used to drive Justin around to, or JKS around to all the different LAN events and look after him as any good parent would. So,
Yeah, now look
you
what he's
are
done.
the
Now look what he's
Forge
ended up
equivalent in
doing.
my eyes.
Yeah, well, you can't unfortunately stop them from running astray eventually.
No, unfortunately not. You do your best you can as parents, but sometimes you just have to let them make their own mistakes, don't you?
Exactly. But look, that is an interesting point. I mean, there's not too many teams out there that have, I guess, such an age gap between the two teams, or between their players, should I say?
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see what dynamic the team has as a result of that.
Yeah, definitely.
At least in terms of experience and.
I'd love to just be sitting on there like TeamSpeak or something and listening. Of course, I won't do that. That's inappropriate
Rude.
for me as a caster. Yeah. That's rude. But no, I think it'd be fascinating. But what about this whole? We've got a few minutes to fill the time. I'm just looking. There's currently 6 players in the server, so we've got a bit of time still yet. What do you make? Obviously, this is just pure speculation. There is absolutely no fact or logic or reason behind this. So this is where we do our best work. When we just have
This is when we
creative
purely
license.
speculate. Yes.
Yeah, I love this bit. What do you make of the whole Fray dying mid-season? Have you ever seen that before? What do you read into that?
Look,
Dying. Oh wait, I'll just clarify. Dying and then continue to play and win. Post dying.
Look, obviously they're not sticking around for reasons that aren't related to results. I mean, you clearly are getting the results if you end up in Division 2 finals.
Yep.
So, I mean, purely speculating, I'd perhaps throw around the notion that they weren't happy, personally. Certain players within the team, personalities clashed. I mean, that's not always a recipe for disaster. I mean, that can often be a recipe for success. I mean, there's been plenty of instances where players have famously not got along with each other and still managed to win. So, and championship teams have been built around players, despite the fact that they may not get along with each other outside the game. Managed to pull together at least as a team and win. So, I mean, purely speculating, that's maybe something that has reared its head during the season for the Frenetic Array boys.
I don't know. I was listening to. I just got a PM though from actually Forge, the captain of Fray, and he was just suggesting that maybe if we're interested afterwards, he might be able to jump in and shed some light on why they actually decided to call it quits. So that could be interesting afterwards, just to have a chat with Forge and see what the true insight is, see how much our speculation is on point. But you're quite right. I mean, for me, famously, to go on and expand and give an example of one of the points you just rose up, back in Counter-Strike 1.6, the Golden Five, as they were called at the time, the team from Poland featuring current day players such as Neo, Taz, the coach of the team, Kuban, who was actually a player at that time. They also had 2 other players that people might not be as familiar with these days in Lord and Luke. I think it was Luke. Now, LUK. Now, for those who might not understand the history there, and they were, the current one of the best teams in the world today with that small little players that have transitioned across. But at that point in time in 1.6, they were the best team in the world. They were winning everything. I think they made their breakout at a WSVG London competition, 2006, went on to win WCG, etc., etc. But famously, and the only reason I'm bringing up is that famously, one of the players of the team, Luke, which was spelled Luq, actually didn't get along at all with the other 4 members. So they were going to LAN events, even like when they weren't playing, they'd be sitting apart from each other. There'd be this poor old guy, Luke, on the side, playing on his phone in the corner of the room. It was depressing to watch. The other 4 members laughing it up and being together. But outside of the game, they really didn't get on with each other at all, but they made it work in-game. So these sort of personality clashes, it's not just something that's specific to our scene or any lower division teams, nothing like that. It happens to the best teams in the world that players don't always get along with each other.
Yeah, teams that obviously won a lot. So, the results obviously are still there for Fray. Obviously, the personality difference, if there is one, we're purely speculating, might just be too much for them to, I guess, overcome, at least in the short term. Yeah, it'd be disappointing, obviously, to see a team, potentially, if they do make the grand final, potentially disband. So keep that in mind.
Not even that. Imagine if they won the grand final. Normally the prize for that is, I guess, that hope of promotion to Div1. Well, there's not much hope of promotion if the team's dead, is there? That's in the bin, I think, if you win Div1 and your team's dead, or you win Div2 and your team's dead.
Definitely, that puts you right in the bin.
That's a binnable offence, but it looks as though the players are joining. We do have 9 in now. We won't get too excited just yet because they will knife and then decide what maps they want to play. So we still have a few minutes to chew the fat, which is probably what we do best. We do better outside of the game than we do inside. But
Always.
What do you make? Probably the last question that's ready, probably we've got time for is when we looked at the context of that bracket before and commentated on and noted about how many upsets we'd seen. We'd seen Atletico gone. We'd seen Leap Crew gone. I think it's fair to say even Cypher themselves getting knocked out in the quarterfinals was some people's eyes surprising. I mean, they've even been dropped by the org now or left, either way, not representing Cypher. What do you make of that? The upsets that we've seen so far and the difference in results post-season compared to regular season?
Look, I think, there has been a lot of competition lately. So I will, go out and say that a lot of these teams have been playing in multiple competitions, multiple different focuses for these teams. CGPL was, like a very steady league that was running, I guess, during a lot of these competitions. So, I mean, in terms of what's been to play for, you've had the Crown competition, you've had the Face It qualifiers as well, just to name a few, like in the last month or so, last 2 months. You've also had ACL and the associated qualifiers with that. There have been a lot of outside opportunities for these teams to play for. So, I mean, compared to CGPL, which until recently didn't have a LAN final announced, it probably wasn't a major focus for a lot of teams. There were opportunities obviously presented by Face It, ACL, and the Crown qualifiers that were a far bigger objective or a far bigger target for these teams. So, I mean, if I was going to put it down to something, I'd probably put it down to the fact that the focus wasn't purely on CGPL, whereas now these teams don't have the distractions of the ACL qualifiers, the Crown qualifiers, or they've already been knocked out of Face It.
So you're suggesting, just to clarify for everyone home, you're suggesting that the teams that we didn't see perform as well during the regular season that are now winning these games in potential upsets, that their focus during the regular season might have been elsewhere, whereas now it's all purely on point with CGPL finals, almost justifying that increase in performance from their side? Is that correct there? Is that right?
Definitely. That's my, I guess, take on what's happened with their performances anyway. So,
I think from the other side of the coin as well, and we are just getting word on the map, so I might just hold that thought for a sec. So the first map will be Mirage, chosen by Fray. The second map will be Cobble, chosen by Trident. And the third and deciding map, if we get to that point, I don't hold very good high hopes for Fray because it will be Cache. So Mirage, Cobble, and Cache are the 3 maps. But we still have some time. The players need to jump in and knife for this. I was just going to say, on the other flip side of the coin, for the teams that we haven't seen this postseason performing as well as perhaps they would have expected and perhaps the community would have expected, I know from chatting with a few of the players, I'm not going to name names in this instance, but from chatting with a few of the players, they were almost suggesting to us as though, in hindsight, their mental approach towards some of the games in the playoffs hadn't been the same as it had all season. They'd gone away from what worked for them. Some of the players were suggesting that all of a sudden they were trying to play a different game style and try and play properly or more serious as a finals game should warrant. And they'd almost moved away from perhaps, I'm not sure, perhaps a more relaxed approach to the game or a more lackadaisical approach. I mean, I'm not sure, choose the right words there, but it was almost as though mentally they hadn't quite approached the finals in the right mindset, was what they were suggesting to us.
Definitely. I mean, forever it's been a common trend for players to, I guess, at least teams, should I say, and to a lesser extent players, come final situation or even come a LAN situation, stray away from their, normal play style or try something different. Just because I guess the occasion is a little bit different, that they alter their play style, thinking that they need to, play more serious or more professionally. I'm not too sure what the mindset is, but essentially they alter their playstyle, and in these sort of situations, your game has got you to this point.
Exactly.
And they end up changing it at the last minute, and they end up. I'll stray away from using one of PDG's famous terms, involving fecal matter and someone's bed. But essentially, that's what they do come finals time. So
I've no idea what you're talking about, but okay, that would be appreciated, staying away from anything of that sort. But I agree with you. So I think for those teams that find themselves on the losing end of the playoffs, that we've seen that perhaps would have been disappointed with their results, I think it's really just an opportunity for those guys, a nice learning experience, and they can certainly take a lot away from that. Some of the teams that we've seen losing, I think, certainly are well and truly better than the performance that they displayed in the playoffs so far. Particularly Atletico, to be honest. That's my personal opinion. I think that they've been challenging Div1 teams quite recently in a wide range of competitions. They were devastated to lose in the quarterfinal stage, and I think that loss, perhaps as devastating as that would have been for some of the players, and I think that there's a lot and a big learning experience they can take away from that.
Yeah, definitely. Just to clarify with some of the comments in the chat there, I mean, $10,000 obviously is impressive for CGPL prize pool, but the Div2 prize pool, and we're speaking, I guess, when we're talking about it not being a focus for these teams, we were speaking strictly from a Division 2 perspective. So, I mean, while the $10,000 is very impressive, it's awesome for the scene, the lion's share of that won't be going to the Div 2 team. So obviously they were sourcing other competitions for their opportunities.
Definitely. I think we said the first place, and it is going into the knife round, Jim, so we'll make sure we get that action. But the first place prize, oh my God, what are Trident doing? They're knifing each other in B-halls. The first place prize was I will finish that. It was $1,500. Second place prize for Div 2 is $800. So just so everyone's aware. But I had got secret word and inside word before the match had started from the captain of Trident that they'd be pulling all sorts of magic off in these knife rounds, and not to be disappointed, they have rushed B and suicided on the van. Now, to put some context for people, this is something we've seen a few times now from Trident, where it's almost their attempt at playing some mind games, almost saying, look, we don't care what side we start, you guys choose. We're confident on either side. So bit of mind games there. We'll see if it backfires, though, as we are going live now with Fray on the CT side.
Exactly right. So we will cut straight into that. Obviously, Trident with their very, very interesting approach to knife rounds, but we will see a bulk of these guys go straight to that A Palace. And Lonsdale there, just obviously the man that will initiate proceedings for the team. They are sitting there poised, ready to go. And they're just waiting for late distraction as the frags come right through there. Church obviously getting the trade there onto Burn and getting a second frag for his trouble, picking up the third as well. This has been an absolutely cracking round from this young man. But Dank Vader, or should I say Yellow, on the flank. He does manage to get traded out, but unfortunately they can't hold that bomb site with only a single man. Great work from Church there, picking up the 4K.
Massive hold by the man there on the stairwell area, grabbing 4. I think even the one T falling off the Palace balcony, he dropped in midair, so some huge shots. It looked to me as though I think 2 of the players on Trident actually had full grenades, one on T-ramp, and one was actually going underpass. So I think that they were going to try and utilise those smokes and flashes to enable the Palace players to exit the Palace safely. But when Church is shooting heads like that, you've got no chance.
When someone's bringing the headshots like that, there's really not too much you can do. But just look at the overlay here. You have all 5 members of Trident sitting in that B Palace. So I'd imagine some sort of smoke execute, or by looks of it, only a single pop flash ready to go. And they will try and bust onto this B bomb site. They have been spotted now by Smurfy, who drops that Molotov there, but it will only stop 1 or 2 of them getting out. But he does manage to pick up 2 with that flame. And Drache timing in to clean up the scraps, should I say, in that B hall. Very clean anti-eco.
I love the double barbecue. It's not often you see a 2-for. The 2-for-1, that was wonderful to see, but nice clean anti-eco round. They have, interestingly though, Jim, even though they didn't get a bomb down, they have 4 sport here, so 5 AKs across the board for Trident. But as a result of not getting many kills or as a result of plants or lack thereof in previous rounds, very light on utility here. So they don't need to rely on their aim.
They did get a plant on pistol there, just to clarify.
Of course, I've lost my mind.
But that smoke execute comes out and blocks vision, obviously, into the mid-con there as Church gets a little bit confused. Love tapping his teammate in that palace area. But if you look at the overlay here, they've already got a man in short there. Burn, very dangerous on the entry as he picks up one in short. But Smurfy had found a reply earlier just then. So it is a 4v4 at this point in time with the members of Fray just working that B bomb site. Drake managed to pick up one frag for his trouble as Church finds Burn, and finally his reign of terror ends in that short room. But Lonsdale now will have to team up with Aiden to try and find, I guess, a way of winning this round. Nick, it's not looking too likely for them at this point in time.
Not at this point. You've got one member in the form of Lonsdale just trying to suss out T-Ramp there at A site. His teammate Aiden has picked up the bomb from T-Spawn, but is actually backtracking completely. So putting a lot of responsibility and pressure on Lonsdale here to try and grab a frag or two. I mean, he's already got one, but he will fall back now, hoping that that would have been enough to commit the CTs to rotating towards A. And it's worked in the sense that one of the CTs, Cruden, I believe, has now moved towards the ticket boxes. And there's only one CT in B now, so a lot of pressure on Drake, but they've only got 12 seconds left nearly, so they don't need to make the frag, and they do, so good timing. Can he get the plant down safely? He does. Lonsdale, great cover there. This has turned around very, very quickly. 2-on-1, but look how far away the CT is. Forge, it's going to take him another 5 or so seconds even to be in the vicinity of the B bomb site.
Not known for being a quick man on his feet, the old 30-year-old.
No, he does spot out one though. Good use of the Molotov there. Will move Aiden. Does spot out the second, so he's... Well, I thought he had spotted out one in sight before. He knows there's one at short. Oh, he's dancing around on the spot there. He's world of trouble, and it does fall in the end, but great use of time management. Could have gone very badly for Trident had they lost maybe a member or two there as they were moving in towards B, but they got that first frag, and great cover by Lonsdale as well. Was able to turn it around for Trident. Yeah,
definitely taking a page out of Navi's book there with the very late execute onto the site. Very late movement, should we say. But obviously that there has forced Frenetic Array onto a very light pistol buy and a pop flash, I think, on Forge. So he's going to initiate some sort of progression. But at the moment, they have taken mid very, very quickly. Forge there on point with that P250. He does fall at the hands of Aiden, who teams up with Break to pick up the frag there. They do have control of mid, and now it is a 2v5 situation there. Aiden, who's bleeding internally, but I don't think that's going to matter too much because both of the CTs are sitting on that A site.
Not just that, I think one of them is actually lagged out, Jim. I think, unfortunately, for Cruden's sake, we see him in spawn. He was looking into the wall. I think that's as a result of him timing out. So a pause has been called, and after this round, they will try and hopefully get Cruden back into the server. He goes down now. So hopefully there's not too long. But the big thing to note for me, if we're talking about Trident, T-side and Mirage, just you've already said it in the pre-game, we've seen so much of these guys. We've been fortunate enough to watch them, not just this season, but also in other events such as ACL Melbourne, ESL qualifiers, Faceit quals, you name it. The big thing that they love to do on T-side Mirage, and they're very, very adept at doing it, is getting both Break and Burn, Are You Okay, into very, very forward positions in mid. And by that I mean they love to try and get one of the players into the ladder room or the vent room area and just have presence there. And they love to try and push up very aggressively into the mid-con area. And they're really, really effective at using smokes to help get them in those very advanced positions and block off the CTs and really forcing the CTs to play quite defensively in the sites. It's really, really unique game style compared to a lot of the players and teams in Australia, but it works really well for them.
Exactly, and I mean, I've obviously had the pleasure of casting Trident for quite some time now with the regular season of Div2, and I've actually seen a few of the strategies that they brought to the table mirrored by a few other teams.
Well, let's be specific there, because you're telling me one before, and I think it's fair to share that on stream. I don't think there's any shame in that.
I don't think it is.
You don't think it's fair? You don't want me to bring it up on stream?
No.
You sure? I'd like to. I might throw you under the bus here, Jim. It might be good. I think it gives a lot of value to what Trident are doing and how respected they are in the community. I think what Jim's alluding to, guys, is that recently we've seen, perhaps in some recent matches from Team Chiefs, probably the third best team, arguably in Australia at the moment, have actually been, I think, taking note quite a lot of what Trident have been doing on their T side and recognising that Trident are probably at their best when they are on the terrorist side and have some really adept, clever strategies and smokes, as we were just suggesting on Mirage. And Chiefs are certainly looking at other teams such as Trident and such as some other teams like that to really try and bring some elements that work into their own gameplay. So a huge amount of respect, I think, shown there by Chiefs, one of the best teams in Australia, to be looking at a Div2 team for inspiration or tips or tricks. I think that only speaks wonders for what Trident are doing at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Look, that's my head just... I'm peeling the scraps of the bus as it's just smashed me in the head.
Sorry, Jim, I know you are the coach of Team Chiefs, but it was a good story to tell because it's true, and I think it really speaks a great story for what Trident are doing at the moment. If you've got these Div1 teams looking at Div2 teams and recognizing that, geez, these guys are okay on terrorist side, they're able to, manipulate the CT's positioning so well and asking themselves, how do they do it? And watching demos of them, I think that's a wonderful thing. I'd be so proud of that if I was Trident.
Let's be honest. So many teams out there do try and reinvent the wheel in terms of strategy.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I agree with that.
So, if something's working for a team, and clearly, they aren't your Fanatics, they aren't your Nips, your Navis, or your TSMs, try and apply a model that works for a lesser team, or a lesser skilled team.
Exactly. And we do see Lonsdale. Nice little shot there onto Forge. So this is the second gun round. Cruden is back in the server now. It's a good time for him. Drache with the frag though, but as Yellow picks off 1 and B, you see frags falling all over the map at this point, and Cruden doesn't know which way to look as a result, and as a result, Burn just shoots him in the back. So these frags are really working in favour of Trident. And you can see why teams are looking up to them on the T side, as they're just picking the defence apart at this point. 2-all, but definitely strong position this round. 4 men to 2 advantage.
Strong position, but they don't have the bomb. It's been left back in spawn over there. So they are going to wait for Lonsdale to go and collect that bomb. In the meantime, they have locked the CTs somewhat out of that B site. Drache standing guard, obviously, from the window with that AWP. And, Chuch just keeping an eye on what he can in that A site. So, importantly, they do have the CT split between the two sites. Obviously, Drache now is calling for his teammate to come help him there as Burn pushes right through that checkers there and ends things.
Takes him down with a nice little AWP shot onto the face of Chuch there. Great play.
Yeah, clearly, should I say, Burn had thought, this round had gone on long enough, let's finish it.
Oh, that's right. He was tired of waiting for that bomber to make his way there. But it's not something uncommon, is it? I can't remember or can't count the number of times we've seen Trident when we're casting them and mention the fact that the bomb's been left in spawn. I think it's a deliberate strategy, as we see a fast B attack coming on here as the CTs do. A deliberate strategy just to try and allow them to move the bomb between the sites based on how they go at each site, as opposed to committing the bomb one way or the other. But the frags are falling at this point, both ways, and Burton's certainly not helping the situation as he does drop a teammate in the way. This way, so far it's down to a 3-on-2 situation, but it is favouring the CTs on eco here. So I wonder if that TK might come back to haunt them. You see Aiden there pick up a nice frag there from the B Palace. Spots out the second, but Forge very quick on the trigger with one of those dropped AKs. All down to one member on the side. It's up to break. Oh, it does spot out one. Here's the footsteps of Forge and does swivel on the spot and drop him. Good work there. Really great movement and the sound really working in his favour. Great play by Break.
Yeah, definitely. I think Break is probably one of the most aware players on Trident's team. As we noted before in previous cast, his ability to find positions that allow him to lurk quite well is something I haven't seen from a Division 2 player in quite some time.
Agree 100%. We've said it a few times, but I agree 100% with you. But look at the aggression here, Jim, by Forge.
Very aggressive position as he actually catches out 2 members of Trident there. And 3v5 situation now for Trident. They are a little bit on the back foot with that push from Forge working quite well. But he does now have to try and get himself out of the pickle that is mid. He does pick up Burn for his trouble there. Forge proving that age is no barrier between frags as he does finally get cleaned up by Aiden, who, with that very, very nice Dragon Lore at the top of mid. But he is now left in a 4v1 situation with, a minute to try and make something happen for Trident.
Well, it's a difficult thing in this sort of situation because most times you'd probably want to be saving it, but you can see with like the advanced position that Cruden has, There's no real opportunity. He does drop one, though. There's no real opportunity for him to fall back. So he really has to commit to it in this sense. Otherwise, he's going to be cornered very quickly. But he moves in towards B. So many places to check, though. You can see he doesn't really know where to plan, where to check. Very, very difficult in that situation. And they just pounce on him.
Yeah, tough situation for him to be in. Particularly, too, that his weapon wasn't AWP. So, obviously, the one shot, one kill policy. If you miss your shot, doesn't leave you a lot of room for movement there. So we will see a set smoke obviously come in through mid there from Trident, but they will, I guess, progress towards this A site quite early with those early smokes.
Bit of a misplay here though, Jim. Aiden's only got a pistol. There's enough money on Lonsdale, 3.6k. He could have dropped an AK if he wanted, so I wonder if that'll come back to haunt them. He is going in third as they charge out of Palace, aided by some smokes and flashes. Burn does drop one. He falls though in the end to Forge, so the trades are going back and forth at this stage. It is down to a 3-on-3. Aiden has recovered an AK though, so don't mind that misplay at the beginning. And oh, great, just cleans up Drake. He wants a second though on that tier, Anthony. Might grab it in a second, as does. Good timing there. Smurfy does fall, so all left up to Cruden, but he's in a world of pain. They know where he is, and he's got nowhere to run. Trident reclaimed the momentum and crucially wrecked the CT's economy. Great play.
Yeah, that win-loss affecting CT's money quite adversely there. And as we saw before, quite a few times they were put on eco, so already Frenetic Array's economy has been tested quite a few times.
They've almost, it's quite strange. Look at the buy that they've gone for though. I mean, they were low on money, but they've actually decided to force everything that they have into this. To be honest, I don't like this play. You see Prudent with a Colt, that's wonderful. Drake has a Famous, yeah, okay, I can live with that. The other three members though have pistol armor. Oh, this is a very, very sketchy play for me. I think that Trident are a team that you really want to have that utility and strong buy for to really stop them, because they are so strong individually. We saw Burn last week. He dropped 36 or 37 frags on one match. Remember that?
Yeah, and I think that was Keish, actually.
Yeah, Keish, the first map against Leak Crew. So they've got some strong firepower. And if you've got pistols up against it, we do see Drake drop one there in the form of Lonsdale. But you're going to want strong weaponry to stop these guys. As we talk him up, and he does drop a frag there. Burn, great play. Picks up Cruden, and crucially, they've opened up the B site here. So this should be their round if they can move in quickly.
They have locked things out here, and they will get that plant, obviously. With exchanges coming down, Forge getting tagged down to 15 there as Break finds that frag in short. He knows Forge is hanging around there somewhere. He can smell him. He can smell that fear in Forge, and he will be backed up by a teammate here. So they are looking for this frag, but we know how devastating a 5-7 to the face can be, as he is forced to come out. He does get that one frag on Break, but Chutch now has that AK and will look to save it to try and, I guess, steady the CT's economy in this situation. But going back to that buy, I think, if anything, it was more than likely an attempt to consolidate the CT's economy and get everybody back to an equal standing.
I'll let it pass this time, but yeah, to be honest, as an in-game leader, I was sort of shaking my head a little bit at that. You can see them having to eco again now. I mean, they do have their AK that Chutch did save, and we saw how strong he can be, especially that pistol round. He wrecked some heads, so a lot of pressure on him this round. He's already lost one teammate. Cruden's gone down, and they're moving very quickly onto A. I like the change of pace, and the main man there, Chutch, he has fallen. So it's all left up to the pistols at this point. They're going to need to pull off some magic, and I just don't see it happening at this point in time. They've got 2 members left alive. Maybe hoping to grab a frag or 2, but can't even do that as Drake does fall. All left up to 1 member, at least temporarily. I'd give him about 1 second left to survive. That is if Lonsdale decides to aim at him. Eventually does, and Forge does fall.
Yeah, look, great read from the T's, obviously recognising that an eco would need to come at some point for the CTs. They picked their moment quite well, recognising that there was no utility on the CTs, and going through Palace, it's not very likely that you're going to be triple grand or quad grand, and that's exactly how things went down. So great read from Trident there.
I love the change of pace though. They move so quickly. We've seen them, and we said they're standard players to move slowly, consolidate spots in mid, move up quite aggressively without necessarily taking too many dangerous battles. But that round, they just blitzed it through the A Palace and just caught them off guard there. I love that. And Lonsdale, I mean, he's got a lot of praise as a caller. You can tell why when you watch them play. But at this point in time, the CTs, they have bought everything they can. They desperately need CT rounds. It is the advantageous side. What can they do?
More importantly, they have that bomb in a position that will allow them to rotate between sites there. As Aiden gets caught out by Cruden in that mid window. Now, pressure here is on Cruden because he is stuck there. And Aiden who certainly knows it. So they are just going to rotate and get that bomb there. They are going to look to try and get that next frag in the window as Cruden trampolines himself into the crosshair of Bert, are you okay? And that's... Wow, blink and you'll sort of miss it because these frags are coming in thick and fast. They do have control of the A site right now, but Smurfy is not looking too keen on retaking anything at this point in time with only a smoke, or should I say a bit of armor and a FAMAS at that B site. So he's just going to try and hold his own and do a little bit of damage, but it's not looking great for Frenetic Array.
They will be hunting him down with no regard for their own life because it's so much more important as he does fall that the T's get that weaponry out of Smurfy's hand. I mean, look at the bank account on the terrace at this point. They've got upwards of $11,000 or $12,000. Losing a gun there doesn't mean anything to them. Whereas the CTs in Fray, they only have $2,000 across the board. So even if they lost multiple lives and they'd endeavour to drop Smurfy, would have been worth it. As it was, they took him down without any cost. Great round by Trident.
Yeah, and as you noted before, that change of pace is coming in quick, and they are going to go straight into this B site with Smurfy falling rather early in the picture. They do have Lonsdale lurking at the top of mid, so that more importantly now they do have control of things in that B site, but Lonsdale is going to be cordoned off by CTs here. He does manage to pick up a frag, but will fall as Drache picks up two handy frags with that P250 in the middle as Trident. Yellow coming straight in to find some replies. He is going to try and end things quite quickly for this round. He does manage to do so, but I guess when you're up by this much, it's not really that much of a dent on the economy.
Let me tell you, as a former in-game leader, and I'm putting myself in Lonsdale's position right now, there is no better feeling as a caller than being able to call a fast B or fast A palace attack and have it work time in and time out. It almost just relieves so much pressure and stress from you. You don't have to come up with this masterful, mind-blowing strategy. If you have the aim power and your team are on point and you can rely on those strats to win rounds for you, it just takes so much stress and responsibility and pressure off you as a caller. And as a result, you can see Lonsdale is now able to put up the frags because it's just one less thing for him to worry about.
Exactly right.
And there's another one. Speak of the devil.
Exactly right. As you can see, he's fragging quite freely at the moment, so I guess there isn't really a burden of calling on his shoulders at the moment because things are just happening for him. They're working.
No matter what he's trying, they're all working at this point. I mean, 9-3, let's reiterate, this was Fray's choice of map. Not 3 weeks ago, Fray played Trident on this in the regular season and won on Mirage. So boy, have Trident turned things around very quickly to be up 9-3 on the T side.
They have, but obviously they've tweaked a few things with their Mirage and adjusted to Frenetic Array. And I think maybe that phenomenon starting to come to play as Lonsdale finds frags in that A site almost too easily for my liking, as he is finally stopped by Cruden, but Cruden now again in a 4v1 situation for Frenetic Array and will be forced to try and save his gun here again.
Wow, things have really spiraled out of control very, very quickly, haven't they, for Fray? We do see Trident does drop one, but they now know where he is, and like we said before, they will be intent on hunting him down. They've taken a bit of damage, but the T's won't mind. All they care about is dropping that weapon out of his hands. You see someone coming from T-spawn as well, so the pincer is real here. Cruden is in a world of pain. Drops off, grabs one, and he beats Burn, but does fall in the end. Forget the T deaths there, they don't care at all. They're just so ecstatic that they dropped that gun out of Cruden's hands.
Exactly right, and as you mentioned before, this was Frenetic Array's pick, and they need to find rounds fast because they could find themselves one map down and one step closer to exiting Division 2.
Well, that's right. Their season is on the line tonight. Now, I know we said, look, they've got a substitute player. Drache is standing in for Mujus, but there's no excuses at this point in the season. They have to give everything they've got. We saw how much fight Trident have. We saw that last week in their quarterfinal. They never gave up. I want to see the same thing from Fray tonight. No matter, even if they go down on this map, they need to stay positive. They still have time to turn things around.
So we see Trident just slow things down a little bit there as Burn again stands up to the test of Forge there. He does take I think it was a bink for his troubles, but I think it was because it was through the wall. It didn't do as much damage as was intended. As Yellow, patience proving to be quite the virtue for him there. Picking up that frag of Cruden, and CT's only 3 pistols on them. Will have to try and defend the entire map. As Break gets found out there by Chutch. Great work from Chutch there. And as quickly as things happened for the T's, they now find themselves in a 3v3 situation. And with similar HPs too.
It's interesting though, even though they've dropped a couple of frags, the CTs this is, with the range of those frags, they've only been able to recover 1 gun. So they've still got 2 pistols. They do have an AK, but the AK is low. They haven't decided to share the wealth at this point and maybe give the AK to a higher HP teammate in the form of Drash or Smurfy. So puts a lot of pressure on Chutch still. You can see the CTs. I mean, Chutch is still sussing out A. He might find one in a second. I wonder if he's going to relay that information to his team, and he does. You can see the A rotate coming in as Lonsdale does drop Chutch, but meanwhile, look at the overlay. Aiden, who and Yellow, they're about to stroll into an empty site and be loving life. Lonsdale doing a massive job here to sell the fake. And not just sell the fake, to drop the team. He's taken out 2 and give him a second and he's about to drop the 3rd. Bang, the caller. What a round. 3 frags, sold the fake, set up that round for his team.
Lonsdale selling it so well. I mean, this guy could probably sell ice to Eskimos.
I haven't heard that one before. I like that one.
I haven't heard that one in a while.
I haven't heard that one in a while. But I mean, they can't do wrong at this stage, can they? I mean,
no.
Look at the scoreboard. If we press tab, they've won 11 of the past 12 rounds. As we see there, Lonsdale getting a tag onto Forge with the AWP. So even when they're not making the frags, they're still damaging them to near death at this point in time. Burn drops the first. Very strange Chutch there, pushing up mid on his own. Drash is able to get the trade frag eventually, but could have gone very pear-shaped very quickly. You see Lonsdale there. Put away the sniper rifle, keep the Rec 9. But frags falling all over the place at this point in time, so it does look like to favour the CTs. I just hope that they can use this strength that they've got to their advantage, but no, Forge pushes up mid on his own with no opportunity for a trade, and all of a sudden they've just thrown away that advantage that they had. 2 members left alive each team.
Yeah, obviously advantage of Lonsdale being alive too. He does understand what information is, I guess, available to him, so he is making a read here where he will sort of simply sit in spawn and allow his teammate to go on point, which is Aiden Hu, to try and find some frags. So the CTs were caught pushing earlier, but now, as you see, they are split between the 2 sites. So just see whether or not he can again sell some sort of fake, because, well, I don't think they've got time to do that. Actually, they are going to have to hit this A site, as Drash will be watching that midcon there. So he does find the back and whiff his shot onto the man in midcon. Smurfy, however, does find that frag in the midcon, and there's just a 1v1 here now with Lonsdale trying to extend the advantage that Trident have. He does know where his opponent is, but he's going to be drawn into this firefight with Drash. Drash needs the rounds for Frenetic Array, and he does find Lonsdale. Finally, some reprieve for Frenetic Array, but 11-4 will be the score in this half. And I honestly hope their T-side is better than Trident's, because it's going to have to be.
Oh, it is. I'm so glad for Drash's sake then that he ended up dead finishing off that round, because when he missed that AWP shot, he would have been kicking himself and would have been feeling the pressure, no doubt, as he moved up mid-con in that last 1v1 to make amends for that missed shot. Eventually does close it out, and a much-needed round for Fray at that point in time. 11-4. This pistol round could be the match decider, you feel. If Trident are able to, you know, shut down the sites, perhaps not even allowing a plant, that could really set them up well to closing out this map very, very quickly.
It's B-stack from Trident.
Yeah, 3 of them there. You wonder if perhaps they've had a bit of a read or been watching some old Fray demos and thought that a B hit was on the cards, or Smurfy does a great job there of actually picking up Lonsdale in mid, so all of a sudden they've got 3 in B and 1 solo man here at break at A. Now, we know how dangerous break can be, but there's no possibility of any support at this point in time. They're going to need to do a bit of rotation on the CT side, I think. See Chutch there.
This bomb is heading through the B halls with Drash, so be interested to see where it heads up. I think they're going for an A fake here to try and pull things out of the site, and B will probably be the eventual target. I don't know if Yellow's going to stick around long enough for that to happen, though.
Oh, he fell back at just the wrong time,
Break.
but Break drops the double and CT spawn, and the HE will go off. Oh, they can't do any wrong. Yellow drops 1. Oh, so close with the second, but Cruden does crucially get the frag down to a 2-on-2. Retake needs to come in. Oh, break with the 5-7 on the pistol round. Quite unorthodox, but rips Strash apart in 2 nice shots there. All left up to Cruden.
Break is absolutely on fire.
Oh, he is, and he drops his 3rd for the round. Needs 1 more to close it out. Down to a 1-on-1. They're dancing around the pole. This is magical to watch. Maybe not so much if you're a Trident fan, as Cruden does drop him in the end. Great round by the man.
Yeah, look, expert ring around the rosy skills from Cruden as he managed to stay out of that very, very lethal path of, well, Break's 5-7. It got him 3 frags, but unfortunately it didn't get him in the round.
That is a man, Cruden, who played a lot of Duck Duck Goose as a child, you can tell. A master at dancing around in circles, running around in circles.
A master of children's games.
Counter-Strike is certainly not a children's game, Jim. It is a violent, horrible game at times with some of the online rego that you get. But no, I guess there are some positives. Forge has got one already. He's got a frag for himself. He'll be happy.
He
does get taken down, though.
Yeah, he does get taken down by Burns. So the reply has come. And will be a 4v4 situation. I think they're going to try and go claim that gun. As Cruden does get found out by Break, but he will be traded there by Drash. And Smurfy finds a reply at the other end of the map. So they are very spread at this point in time. With Smurfy obviously trying to get as much information as he can in that jungle. He does manage to pick up Burn. And now Aiden in a 3v1 situation there. I'm not too sure whether Chutch is aware. He does eventually recognise the head of the CT and close out the round there with the help of Smurfy.
Now let's just take a trip down memory lane for a second. If we remember back to the quarterfinal Trident versus Leap Crew last week, we actually saw Trident perform best on that occasion on their CT side. I know we've raved about their T-side abilities, but if you remember CT side, once they got to the gun rounds, Aiden, who in particular was able to lock down mid with that AWP. So as we move into next round, Break with a nice shot there. As we move into the first gun round, I'll be looking to see if he does pick up that AWP, because that was ever so crucial last week.
Yeah, he has been instrumental in all of their map victories, I'd say, as Aiden falls to the fire there, defiant to the last shot, but doesn't pick up a frag for his trouble. And they are constantly menacing Frenetic Array through that short. But as we see, Break does manage to pick up that Galil. And Yellow might just find the head of Smurfy. He does. And more importantly, delay that B onslaught from Forge there. But if you look at the HPs, Drash and Forge have a lot of work to do and not a lot of health to work with.
Oh, Yellow's the man in this instance. Look, he's jumping. I can just see him getting a jumping frag. It's only a matter of time at this point. He's got the HP. He actually has a Galil now if wanted to drop the dead bodies of Fray as well. So this is looking like a really tough task. The bomb is down in B Palace. That's why all the CTs are there. They've gathered around. Oh, this is going to be a shooting gallery in a second. They've got about 3 seconds left in this round. Even less as Yellow does finish them up. Great play by Trident there to win the win the eco round, that was actually. So massive play. Yellow with the 3 kill, but great teamwork all around.
Yeah, Frenetic Array are going to find it really tough to get back into this match if they lose ecos like that.
Now, we talked up Yellow's Aiden's AWPing last week, didn't we? Now, he's got it this round, so Aiden versus Drash will be the matchup I'm interested in this round.
Aiden taking the backward step in that mid window, so he's not going to fight directly with him up mid. That smoke obviously masking him quite well as Lonsdale finds Chutch showing a little bit too much of his forehead in the palace as Forge is unable to find any sort of reply. He has been locked out of that T-ramp and he will be forced to retreat. At the moment, only Smurfy holding mid. He doesn't have too much information.
That's right, none of them do really. So even as they make their way into B Palace now with the bomb, they really even don't know where to look. They're going to have to check every corner, and you can see underpass would probably be dirty at this point, or the kitchen hasn't been cleared out, so it's just a lot of extra corners and takes a lot of time to clear them all out. Meanwhile, Cruden being a bit of a sneaky devil, but he's given away his position there, and he might get caught off guard as a result. He actually went for the spam, banking on Lonsdale being below the balcony. Mind you, he was there earlier in the round, but he had changed up his position so effectively and caught Cruden off guard. Break with a nice frag as well there, so things quickly falling apart for Fray.
Very quickly falling apart for Fray. They are being picked off one by one, walking into choke points without using any utility at all. So that is clearly what's costing them in this particular situation. And They will try and get into B. Forge does open up the frags, but Aiden Hu and Burn are just equal to the task.
And look at the money, Jim. If we press tab, I mean, you can see nearly every CT. Everyone on Trident has been putting in work at this point. You can see 20 from Lonsdale, the in-game leader. Burn's been up there. Break's been fragging. Even Yellow and Aiden have been pulling in some crucial frags when they counted. We saw Yellow with 3 on that eco round just previously. Meanwhile, the T's, Frenetic Array, have to eco. They don't have any money, but they don't really have the rounds to play with. We could be looking at a 14-6 in a second. A fast B's on the card, so this could buff up Yellow's stats very, very quickly. 1, 2, 3 have fallen. Mixture of frags. Burn gets 2 at the AWP and actually gets the 3rd in the sight, so Yellow will be cursing at Burn right now. He felt they were his frags.
Yeah, I'd be cursing at him too. I mean, who feeds an AWPer like that?
Oh, that's right, especially B on Mirage. You don't normally see as much action. That's something that PDG normally complains about to us in private. He holds B for Chiefs and never gets to see any action, so on the rare occasion that they do rush B, you at least want the opportunity to get some frags.
The thankless task, as he keeps telling us. But Break pushing straight into Palace there. Even though his team's got the money, he still opted for that MP9. So a very cheeky play from him there. He did obviously pick up an AK from Forge, but Frenetic Array now in these positions where they don't really have too much information nor territory on the CTs.
Definitely not. You can see the CTs at this point. They're just content to hold back in the sights. They've got 2 in A, really 2 at B, and 1 in a sneaky little position there, Burn. Close short, they're keeping an eye on mid, just to make sure everything's as per normal. At this stage, Break has spotted 1 at T-ramp, but the T's are really in no man's land. There's 2 in mid, 1 at B, 1 at A, T-ramp. They're all over the shop, and Trident are just pulling them to pieces at this point. Another one does go down as Lonsdale, off the back of a nice flash from his teammates. Jumps across the Tetris and drops Chuch. Down to a 5-on-2 situation. Make it a 5-on-1 then. Give me a moment and the round will be done. 15-6. Match point for Trident. Geez, they've taken this first map by storm.
They have, and it, I guess, started early for Frenetic Array when their money situation got, I guess, spiraled out of control early in their CT half, and it just allowed Trident to capitalise a lot. Obviously, some good reads coming in from Lonsdale, and I guess from then on in, it got really difficult for Frenetic Array to get into this match.
Definitely. You just felt like they've been almost on the back foot the whole game, and they're going to need to produce something here. You can see they've got pistols for the most part, 1 scout in the hands of Draish, but they've already taken a lot of damage, and they've lost a man now in Smurfy, so unless a miracle happens at this point or someone goes huge, I think we could be looking at the end of the final map. We see Lonsdale here, very close. He hears the footsteps, he hears the gunfire. Does actually manage to spot out the boost happening. Drops 1, but doesn't quite get Chuch. But at this point, it's all left up to Chuch. It's a 4-on-1 situation. They know his position. The bomb's down in A. He's got to recover that. Not just that, he's got to put up with 4 CTs that are hunting him down furiously at this point. They're not showing any respect, and Burn finishes it off in style. A nice little quick stroke there onto Chuch in mid, and before you know it, 16-6 in favour of Trident. Massive play by those guys.
Yeah, we will cut back to us, but wow, I didn't expect it to be that much of a romping from Trident. We know how good they are on their T-Star. We know how good they are on Mirage, but I thought, obviously, having played each other at such, that earlier point in the season where Frenetic Array got up,
yeah, they won.
Be much closer.
They won not just on Mirage, but they won the overall series 2-1. So you'd almost have to think in that regard that they would have considered in their own minds the favourites going in. But I loved what you said when you said they were almost felt very early on the CT side like they were always on the back foot. I know that one of their players dropped, but that was only for 1 eco round. He was able to get back in. That's no excuse. It was just really great team play on the terrorist side and some fantastic reads by Lonsdale. But more importantly, his team backing him up and making the frags to make that job so much easier for him.
Exactly right, and it felt late in that game especially that Frenetic Array were just walking into choke points, didn't really have utility to use, and it really cost them because they were just walking into crossfires that were set up by Trident, and that was it. It was, it was a lost cause for them at that point. Definitely.
If there was one little shining glimmer of hope that I would give to any Fray fanboys or fangirls out there, or even the Fray players if they've decided to tune in and listen to our post-game analysis, it would be that just simply take a look at what happened last week in Trident's match against Elite Crew. Trident came out in blistering form and won the first map against Elite Crew. It was something obscene like 16-3 on Cache, a blowout. But we were able to see in between the first map finishing and the second map starting, Elite Crew were able to turn it round, played a great second map, were able to win, played a great third map without necessarily getting over the line in the end. But the fast start that Trident got didn't turn into a blowout series. So from Fray's perspective, if they can have that same mindset and look, let's just put that behind us now. Let's focus purely on Cobble, which will be the second map. Let's just get focus and get this win under our belts. Anything can happen, as we saw last week.
Exactly right. And we keep harping on about it, it seems, but just those milestones that you set for teams, those mental milestones to get that last map's failure out of the memory banks, and focus on the map at hand and not necessarily dwell on what happened in the past.
There's another thing. I mean, if I'm a Fray supporter as well, if I was switched on enough to look at our little pre-game analysis, we were flashing up a nice little splash screen with all the numbers and stats. Trident actually don't have that nice of a record or that good of a record on Cobblestone. Even though they've chosen it tonight as their map, over the last 2 months, they've only won 25% of their scrims on it in the competitive scene. So 1 in every 4. So they don't really have at least the competitive results to justify or to back up that decision. I know we already suggested earlier on that the map pool might have been mixed up a bit based on their recent encounter with Fray, but that's another little positive motivator that I'm using if I'm Fray going into this second map now. I'm going, look, to be honest, these guys are maybe a bit average on the map or haven't been performing as well as people would have expected, and just trying to use that as a leg up as well.
Exactly. So, any sort of mental edge that you can try and gain for your team at this point is going to benefit the guys from Frenetic Array. I mean, you do have the experienced head and forge. He's been there, he's done that, he's seen this before. I'd expect him to lead from the front and really set about, motivating these boys. And I mean, it can't be overlooked, the experience of Draish as well. Draish has been around for quite some time. I know he is only a substitute in this lineup, but he does offer a wealth of experience as well. So he has played plenty of competitions before. He played right through 1.6 and right through from the start of Go. Yep. So he is very familiar with the game and the competitive environment.
Definitely. Couldn't reiterate anything that you said better than you just did. Whilst we've got a little bit of time in this downtime as well, I might just remind everyone at home that we are doing a giveaway tonight. We're hoping to hit the magical 750 followers on Twitch. I just had a quick look then. We're up to 691. So we're only 59 away. If we can hit that tonight, get the word out, guys. If we can hit that tonight, we will be giving away a minimal wear M4A1S golden coil from the latest shadow case, one of the red rare items from my own personal inventory. I'm very generous like that sometimes when I want to be. But we are hoping to give that away tonight. What a fantastic start to the Div2 semi-finals that would be, being able to generously or having the opportunity to give back to our fans and at least the supporters and viewers out there who tune in every week for us. So we're certainly hoping to hit that milestone tonight. If we don't quite reach the target, fingers crossed we do, Brucey from Cybergamer, for those who might recognise him, or Immunity, has kindly offered and donated a M4A1S Cyrex skin that we will give away if we don't quite make it. So massive thank you to Brucey. I had the privilege of meeting him at Melbourne at the ACL event. So that is our backup plan. That is definitely going tonight if we don't hit the 750. But get the word out there, guys. We only need 59 more followers, and that golden coil will go tonight.
Brucey, absolute champion. So,
yes.
Hit that follow button if you haven't already. If you like Australian Counter-Strike, get involved. But we do have finally 10 in the server here, and the map will be Cobble. So we might just cut straight into,
into the knife round.
A knife round here.
I might just provide a vague sort of comment as well, Jim. You've just said if people like Australian Counter-Strike to hit the follow button. If I could be as vague as possible, if you like international Counter-Strike, hit the follow button, guys. Stay tuned.
Yeah, apparently Australia versus New Zealand is in...
No. Some things are on the cards here, guys. So if you're keen of fans of CS all around the world, hit the follow button. We've got some exciting news for you coming up very shortly.
Well, would you look at this?
Chances of Trident taking the knife round seriously? 0 out of 7. Now, Jim, I find myself reiterating every week I find myself reiterating every week and having to explain to people what they see on these knife rounds. This time you can do it. Why did Trident destroy themselves? For anyone who's just joined us,
I can't even deal with them at this point in time.
This is all mind games, people. This is what they tell us each week. They did give us a heads up pre-game that they would be suiciding in the knife round. Of course, that does give Frenetic to raid their choice of sides. Most teams would not want to do that. They'd like the choice themselves, but Tridents like to, be very bold and have that bravado that, look, we don't care what side we start on. And, well, based off their performance last map, you can tell that they didn't. They blitzed it on T-side. So they are T-side Cobble tonight. We'll see what they can bring.
You're going to have to continue casting this pistol around because that is fantastic. I've never seen a stack like that on the ladder
Jim
before.
is done. So the casting for the pistol will be Noodle. You can see there's actually a very, very fast A attack coming on. Lonsdale is trying to sell as much of a fake as he can with some utility at B, but don't be deceived, people. Four of his teammates are currently in A site, very shortly able to plant the bomb. They've moved in off the back of that fake very effectively. Now, the tricky thing in this instance is whilst they're in the site, there's a lot of uncharted territory for them. So CTs have advanced positions here. Well, they are getting taken down, but they were advanced in side halls. They were very close at Juliet, but they're all falling to pieces. Burns dropped 2, Break's got 1, and could he possibly knife him? He does! Oh, that is a demoralising start to the second map for Fray.
That is a very rough start from Fray. Obviously, that B fake selling things so early from the get-go.
Yep.
And that movement, I guess, was very panicked from Fray. Straight off into that B site there. They were very, very much sold by that early fake.
The beauty of that B fake, though, is we see the CTs, they have bought everything they can, so I'll hold that thought for a second. Yellow does drop 1, though, so A side is open if they move up. I'll just say that beauty of that B fake was that smoke Lonsdale did off the box to blow up on Gauntlet covers off so much of the platform and really restricts the CT's vision that much. It's such an effective smoke. So it can be really difficult as a CT when that smoke goes down to really tell what's happening. So great little fake. You can see how well it worked for them. But now, second round, we're down to a 3-on-3 situation. Break does drop Smurfy down the little vent room. You can see another one of his teammates, I think Drace, crawling through trying to have his go at things. But all of a sudden, they're making the frags. It's all down to Burn, but he does drop 2 in the end. So, ooh, that was looking a bit shaky for a moment there. But you're never in doubt with Burn on live. One of the sharpest players in Div2 for sure, in my opinion.
Definitely. We've seen him time and time again pull some ridiculous shots. And he, the same sort of shots he was pulling on LAN as well. So,
oh, yeah, definitely.
This guy is definitely someone to be very, very wary of in any situation. As we hear the squawks of the chickens as they run through those A-halls there. And again, I think an early B fake is on the cards there. Lonsdale doing a great job of harassing that drop room there, keeping 2 CTs at least locked in for the meantime. He does find that second frag there, but Forge finds a reply finally there, ending his reign of terror in that drop room. But it is a 4v2 situation, and they have been locked out of this A site. At this point, the CTs are only going to look to try and do some damage. But Drace...
Look at the sneaky little boost there. I like that.
Drace does pick up 1, but Yellow does finish the job for that round.
Alright, if you're Fray, it's game time right now. You would have been disappointed about losing the pistol. Ecos, you only expect so much, but this is where they need to make their stand. They've just got blown out of the water on the first map. Their season is on the line at the moment. They've toiled for 9 weeks to get to this point. They need to take this round and give themselves a chance in this second map.
This is their El Dorado.
It is, but they're not messing around, are they? As they move very quickly into B, and they're bringing the force to Forge and to the rest of the members of Fray, but they're able to hold their own at this point. Chutch with 2, Forge with 1, and crucially, it looks like they've been able to lock down this BS side. Very, very aggressive from Trident, but great defense there. Good use of utility was able to help stop that rush in its tracks.
Yeah, Forge really bringing the fire there.
I'm just going to leave that one alone, mate.
Just going to leave that one there. That's pretty much all I had planned. I hope
doesn't even warrant a response.
Take it and run with it. But, look, we will see another buy come from the T's. We will see Trident again just run into a very familiar default for a lot of teams here, but we will see Yellow menacing that platform solo again. He has been cleaned up, and now the B fake has been worked out. But Cruden picking that early frag on break in middle there, or underpass as it is called by some of the European teams. So the rotation has come in from the rest of Frenetic Array. They are going to try and work back towards this B site here. They are sort of caught in this limbo as Aiden Hu managed to pick up one frag. Will he find that second there? He needs to find his second for his team, but unable to do so at this point in time. Lonsdale just cheekily getting a frag onto that B site there. He does eventually find that frag and will investigate what's going on. He does have the attention of Smurfy, but not for much longer as it's lights out. And they are now going to work towards this B site here. Hopefully that bomb can make it in time as Lonsdale is doing his best to keep Cruden away from things. Does manage to find his way to the pot plant there and will get a flank on Aiden. And that bomb is down once again. And finding the second frag onto Lonsdale. Bernie UK has a lot of work to do here and only 15 seconds to try and do it. Drache has spotted Burn and will clean him up there. Very, very tense around that one, but very important for the CTs to roll and continue this momentum.
Yeah, this is definitely better from them. I'm so glad to see that they've been able to string 2 rounds together and really bolster their economy. When Lonsdale made a couple of those shots there, I was really had my heart in my mouth. It was an amazing 1B that he pulled off onto someone in the middle of the B side to open up that site, but you can see the T's now on the back of those 2 gun round losses. They've been forced to eco. It's just P250s, maybe a deed for a couple of them, but for the most part, an economy round. So this is the opportunity for Fray to really now consolidate their good start. You can see that the T's at this point, Trident are very happy to try their hand at A. They've gone B a few times in a row. Maybe they'll be regretting that decision now as Drache, Smurfy and Cruden absolutely tear them to pieces. Perfect round by Fray.
Yeah, well worked from Fray there, obviously minimising any losses. But Trident, again, now on this buy, they are going to, well, hopefully put some pressure towards this B site here because they have been able to get there. And Trident, I think it was Yellow, is the man that they keep sending out onto this B platform early. And he will try and do so once again. But they are going to send 4 people into that A courtyard there. Aiden Hu falls early. And Chutch is found at that B side eventually by, I think it was Lonsdale.
It was a brutal kill. He actually tapped him
4v4.
In that little split gap as he was falling away. I have no idea how he made that shot. Perhaps a little bit of a pre-fire there, hoping to get the timing right. But what a shot. But I love this position by Drache. His teammates just fallen here, so they're not going to actually expect another player to be in that exact same spot. And with 2 members going up danger stairs and the bomb about to find its way to Drache on his own, if Lonsdale falls here, the bomb is going to be dropped, but great flash! Oh, that really, really saved his team there. That could have been bombed down, but Lonsdale with a great little piece of flash work caught Drache off guard and really secured that A corridor spot there. Wonderful play.
It's going to be very tough for the CTs here in Frenetic Array to try and hold these 2 bomb sites with only 3 members remaining. And Trident, again, just dispersing a little bit with Yellow, harassing that drop room, just keeping things in check as his remainder of teammates actually go through those A side halls and through the underpass there. Forge does get seeked out by Lonsdale there, and they are taking control of this A site bit by bit. A second frag there for Lonsdale. He is fragging very freely across these 2 maps, and Cruden does manage to find that lurk in Yellow, but I don't think it's going to happen for him here. He has been locked out of this A site, and Trident will find that 4th round.
I must admit, I'm really, really impressed with the fact that, as we see Trident try and get a few exit frags here, but I think he's short-lived. I don't know if he'll actually be able to get out of here alive now that the T's are swarming on him, but the fact that Lonsdale had the peace of mind to actually flash those A corridors after having already got 1 frag in that exact same spot, very, very, very intelligent. You can see why he's the in-game leader. That 1 flash actually saved them from losing that round, I feel. That could have been bombed down. There were another couple of teammates there potentially going to have their backs turned. Cruden does save the gun in the end, but great play by Trident there. Great read by Lonsdale, the in-game leader.
Yeah, great work from, I guess, Cruden. Can't be, stated enough there that it was difficult in those circumstances, but he does save.
Does save. And look, his team has bought on the back of the economy that they have built up. Interested to see where Drache is going to use this AWP, though. Because AWPing on Cobble can be a daunting prospect sometimes on CT side. He is taking it aggressively to A-halls, though, but there are a lot of the T's there waiting for him, and Aiden does manage to win the duel with an AK long range, so I think Drache should be kicking himself that he's just got picked off like that. Really expensive piece of utility to lose like that.
Yeah, very interesting early exchange there, because that was a very small gap that he managed to get that frag through.
He's actually got himself 2 for the round, but not just that, he's actually picked up the AWP. So he's doing everything he possibly can in this round to try and keep the momentum in Trident's favour. Now, Fray, I mean, they're no strangers to Cobble. We saw them earlier this season drop teams like Cypher on it, so they certainly are very strong on the map. But they're going to need to do something a little bit different at this point in time. You can see down 5 members to 3 at this point. They've actually opted to stack the A side, at least temporarily. Now, I don't mind this play, to be honest now. You can see the teaser going B. No doubt they're going to take the site, the bomb will be planted, and they'll win the round. But this is something that Threats, the Swedish player, always harps on about and recommends, that when you are down on the CT side 3 members to 5, instead of splitting your defense and putting so much pressure on individual players to hold choke points, it can be far better and more beneficial in the long run to stack one of the sites and gamble. And then at least if they do go to that site, you've got a 50% chance. You have a much stronger chance at holding. In this case, unfortunately, they went to the other site, but at least they'll now be able to save those 3 guns and hopefully buy next round.
Yeah, it will be important for them to try and buy once more, because we know how, I guess, menacing Trident can be if you let them go on those runs, particularly on the T side.
You can see they're trying to hunt them down, but some good positions here from the CTs. Actually allow them not just to save, well, I thought they were going to save, but break, good frag there, so that's important. Only 2 members survive now, which means that the CT's economy is really going to be stretched. It makes a huge difference having 3 members survive and being able to drop 2 weapons instead of having 2 members alive and not being able to cater for everyone. Crucial frag there by Break.
Crucial frags there from Break, so doing great work for the moment. But we will see a very sketchy buy come in from the CTs there, as Forge manages to pick up 1 frag, but not before he's burnt to a crisp. So a 4v4 situation will ensue as a result of that early exchange. But more importantly, Forge has information that the B site is not taken just yet, as Drace is cleaned up by Burn, but not before Cruden can pick up that frag onto Break, as Church showing us why he is such a menacing player with that Deagle, removing Burn in the danger zone, as they call it. And Aiden is forced to retreat, take that bomb, and try and reunite with his teammate, who has found his way into B. So Lonsdale does have that B site. So he's just going to try and lock things down while he waits for his teammate to finally arrive with that bomb. And amazing how Lonsdale has turned this back in favour of Trident.
Definitely. He's got such an advanced position here, so it's trying to make the CT retake so hard. The crucial man will be the man on the flank here, but all of a sudden Chutch has been left on his own, so the flank's sort of fallen apart when you're the last one alive, but he smoked the bomb, I think. Actually faked the defuse. Now the last member, Aiden, is quite low. You can see him sticking it. Oh, his crosshair was just on his head there. He was wondering if he's going to pull the trigger in the end, as he sort of tried to best remember where the bomb was planted and do his best to line it up, and eventually does get the frag. But if you missed that shot, that could have been very tense moments for the members of Trident.
It's been very tense indeed, but obviously coming up trumps in that situation. So if we look at the situation here now, we finally do see some, I guess, respectable guns coming in from Frenetic Array. And again, Yellow harassing that platform. Almost picking up Forge in the meantime, but he has been put down to 16 HP and will be caught out by Chutch there as he retreats. So they will lose any sort of advantage they gained early with that damage. Looks like Frenetic Array are making a bit of a read here. They are putting members back onto that A site, Nick.
I love this. I love the fact that Fray were actually holding quite defensively in A, which has allowed them now that safety almost to rotate members in time to have support there when these battles do go down. But in any case, forget how many members there of the CTs are at A. They're dying left, right, and centre. Aiden's picked up one. I think Burn as well dropped to a frag. So very quickly, Trident to be able to wrestle control of this A bomb site. But you can see here, have a look at the overlay. The bomb is quickly bolting back, and all 3 members of Fray are committed to A at this point in time. Oh, who's the member there at Stable selling the fake? It's Break. Now he's doing his trademark little ninja effort there. You can see him posing a danger later on this round potentially, but He's done an amazing job of just keeping the CTs there, locking out the presence whilst they sneak into B. Aiden does get the bomb down, does grab a frag, so it's all happening for Trident at this point. Forge in a world of pain, does pick up the beta, not the beta, the flanker. It wasn't beta, he was doing a great job. The lurker does pick up break, but now he's just going to have to save. He's wasted too much time, too far away. What a brilliant read there to fall back towards the B-bomb site. I love that play.
Yeah, obviously doing a great deal of work there with that flank. So that flank obviously had a lot of information. So Break was able to communicate to his teammates what Frenetic Array were or weren't doing in that case, and that was rotating. And posed a little bit of a threat there in the end. Did enough damage to Forge to force him to retreat. It was a no deal for that retake. So Trident, again, seemingly running away with this on their very, very strong T side.
Definitely. You can see Fray here. They're just on eco. A couple of the members who had a bit of a bank in Chutch and Trident have actually bought some armor to go along with their pistols. But for the most part, it is an eco round. So Trident will be hoping to keep this as clean as possible. They're probably suspecting that Fray are on eco, to be honest. But until they have that first exchange of duels, they won't have that information guaranteed at that point in time. So we will see Yellow jump off the platform, and he does actually spot one now. So the information will go out. Not only is B quite weakly defended, it's getting defended by players who don't have any weaponry or utility. So they'll be very, very happy to just swarm onto the B platform at this point in time. But Duration, Chutch actually getting some crucial frames there, but oh, that was a disgusting little jumping headshot by Yellow. I'll let you take over. I don't want to talk anymore. That was disgusting. Yeah.
Chutch with a very unorthodox position here, attempting to save this AK. So the T side, that is Trident, recognised that their money situation is very bad, and he will be found out by Burn. So Burn does know where he is. His team has been made aware of his position. He hasn't changed it, and he will try and defend this particular position with the CZ. He will be forced into a long battle, but he is picked up by Break there, so there will be no deal with that save.
Now, something I would like to see Fray do at this point in time. I mean, they're down 8-3. We saw them play quite defensively at A last round. I don't actually have a problem with that. But a nice little twist or subtle change they can make, something that works very well at the upper level of CS, is those A players actually push up quite aggressively at the beginning and perhaps use some utilities such as smoke grenades or, as you can see them doing now, or perhaps some Molotovs to at least give the illusion of presence close A and then fall back to safety as they've done, which is perfect. I love this play because what it means now is that Trident aren't sure exactly where the CTs are playing. They're of the illusion that given the utility that they've seen, that they need to actually check every corner now, and it actually wastes a lot of valuable time for Trident to now clear out all the A corridors and clear out A mid. It wastes a lot of time and gives the CTs a lot more options to rotate later on in the round. I love that play by Fray. Good mix-up.
Good to see them trying some things, even though the half is not going, well, the way they would have wanted it to. So, look, hopefully that gets them back in this match and evens things up a little bit there as Yellow tries to take that peek onto Chutch at the B platform, but not quite successful in doing so. They are going to fall back to this A side, but as you can see, the CTs are also making that adjustment as well. They are pulling all members back into A. And
look at the time left though, Jim. As a result of those early nades that we spoke about, there's only 30 seconds left now. So they've bought themselves another 30 seconds worth of rotates, but as the flashes and smokes come in, the T's are still making the frags work. It doesn't matter how much time they've left on the clock when you're making the headshots. All of a sudden, it's up to Chutch. He does drop one, but he is in a 1-on-3 situation. Make it a 1-on-2. Position is known, though, but the smoke is buying him a couple of seconds. But that'll, as it evaporates, so does his life. But I love the play by Fray, but, geez, what can you do when Trident just clicking on your head so effectively?
Exactly right, but look at the scoreboard there. Chutch putting in some work for his team. Despite being down 9-3, he is 16 frags for 10 deaths. So he has been putting in a mountain load of work for Frenetic Array. Obviously, the difference has been here, if you look at that scoreboard, there have been quite a few bomb plants in the mix there. So, Yellow just doing his usual thing there at the B platform and just harassing those guys at the B site and keeping them locked in nice and early. But in the meantime, 3 members of Trident are just sitting in that court. Yeah, there as Yellow cops a bink for his troubles as Smurfy does find that frag onto Break there. So they do have an advantage coming into this round as Chutch finally finishes off Yellow. And 5v3 will be the situation as the T's now have to try and make an adjustment. Nick, where can they go from here?
Normally I'd always suggest going B when you're down numbers, just because I guess the smaller choke points lay to perhaps make those frags or trade frags more easily. But look at the weaponry. They've actually, well, they had 2 AWPs. They have managed to switch it out now for AKs, but Chutch doesn't care what weaponry they have. He's shooting the heads. I think he was the man you pointed out at the beginning of the round that was doing his work and then some. Well, I think he's just done justice to what your comment was. Great round by Chutch, but great aggression in particular on the B side of the map in the drop room to really, I guess, leave the Trident members at A isolated, because all the frags were going down at B. Nice pressure there from the CTs.
Great pressure from the CTs. Obviously, Chutch doing good work there, pushing and continuing to push to get information for his team in that situation. So, obviously, resulted in a really good read coming in from Frenetic Array. As again, we see the T's just spreading to what is a very familiar default. And Aiden Hu again picking up that frag through that small gap into the A-halls, and I'm not too sure they know exactly where it's coming from at this point. As,
I think you're exactly right.
Yellow. They can't seem to work out where they're getting shot from, but it keeps working for Aiden, so why not keep using it? As Cruden takes the firefight there in danger, but no one seems to be the victor at this point. In 4v3, the numbers do favour the T's at this very moment, and Yellow just peeking and prodding and poking that B bomb site as the smokes and flashes will fly in. Drake will try and defend it with that AWP there. He does pick up Yellow nice and early as Smurfy chimes in with one of his own. It is a 2v2 situation now as the frags have fallen, and Drake finding great position with that AWP. Does pick up Aiden Hu, so he does now know that Burn is somewhere in that site as Burn manages to use that smoke to great effect, flanking Cruden quite well. It is 1v1 now with Drake and Burn in this situation, but Drake taps the bomb and forces Burn to try and make some sort of movement. He's not too sure where he is though. So he does overpeak and does manage to catch Burn with that Molotov in hand and will do enough to win the round. But it is time for Frenetic Array to stand up, because if they don't get the rounds that they need here, they could see themselves exiting the competition.
It's heartbreaking for Burn though. You have to feel for him. You could see what his intentions were. Given the fact that the timer on the bomb was so low, he just wanted to try and get that Molotov off at the feet of the bomb there, just to eliminate any possibility of a defuse, but actually got dropped with nade in hand there. So that frag couldn't have come at a better time for the CTs there. Great round by Fray and good clutch there.
Yeah, a bit of a different approach now from Trident, as Yellow has made his way all the way through the drop room there, and he will actually pick up a frag on Forge, but Smurfy finds break in that drop room, and Yellow has himself a nice little position at the back of the B-bomb site, keeping 2 CTs occupied. He doesn't manage to find a frag though, so they have been cleaned up, and in the meantime, 3 members of Trident are streaming into that A site. The trades go down, and it is now a 2v1 or 2v2 situation, but Smurfy, with only 6 HP, has a lot of work to do to try and make his life count in this round, as Chutch and Smurfy know the position of Lonsdale, and they do know the approximate position of Burn in that site, but he has again maneuvered himself well into that smoke. He does find Smurfy, and that Molotov will delay things a little bit further there. Chutch not able to do anything. He is burnt to a crisp, and Trident working quite well there with that early B presence, and is streaming straight back into that A site.
I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed by Burn, not in the sense of his fragging, we've already spoken about that, but his movement as well. The way he's been able, even in that clutch just then, he almost seamlessly worked his way around the back of the smoke and then into that corner of the stables area, knowing every angle and corner of the map perfectly. So really impressed by his movement. I think he's a real up-and-comer to keep your eye out on, but like you said, great half by Trident. Let's not forget the fact, though, that I think it's fair to cobble a T-sided map. I think that's definitely the meta at this stage of the game for Australia and on the international scene. So whilst it is quite a large gap at this point, 10-5, I think that Fray will still be reiterating the fact that, look, it is a team map. If we can get the pistol, get the anti-air rounds, that'll bring it back to 10-8. And then remember, round for round, it is a T-sided map. So look, we're not out of this yet, guys. That'll be the message within the team. Don't give up hope yet.
Don't give up hope yet, and that is definitely a very powerful message. Just beyond the realm of Counter-Strike, I believe, Nick. But
we're dealing with live messages here.
Yeah, we are delving deep. But it might be a good time to remind our viewers of the giveaway that we've got going on, Nick.
That's right. So potentially 2. We're doing one giveaway tonight. We're hoping if we can hit 750 followers on our Twitch channel, So hit the follow button down below if you haven't already done so. We will be giving away a minimal wear M4A1S golden coil from the latest Shadow case to celebrate that little mini milestone. So please get your friends, families, get the word out there on Twitter. Just trying to, I guess, reward and thank everyone for their support so far. It's been a wonderful 3 months for us. If we don't quite hit that tonight, a Cyrex will be up for grabs, kindly donated by Brucey.
But in the meantime, Frenetic Array are not messing around. This all-out B assault has resulted in 3 early frags dropping as Lonsdale engages with Chutch there, and Chutch loses his life. But those dual Berettas of Smurfy come to the rescue, and it now Burn. I know he's good, but I don't think he's this good. Don't think he'll be able to pick up this round, but they do now know his position there. He does pick up one for his trouble, but Forge on the case. And just as quickly as things began, they were over. Frenetic Array not messing around.
Triple then, Jim. Was that a triple with the dualies, wrecking heads? So he wasn't even hiding behind any obstacles or anything. You saw him with that last frag jumping out the window with no regard for his own life. So I like the bravery, and it certainly paid off for him. But perfect start for Fray. Very, very aggressive play. I mean, it was, let's not beat around the bush. It was a rush B strategy. It wasn't the most complicated thing I've ever seen in the world, but it can be quite effective on Cobble, given the height advantage and the timings of the map as to when Ts get to B and when CTs get there. So whilst it can be quite a basic strat in its very nature, it can be very effective as it was just then.
It was very effective, and yeah, I think people have sort of cottoned on to the Julie buff in that recent patch, and well, there was one point in the early game where they were just ridiculous. And
do you remember back in 1.6 when people, I don't know if people still do this or if this is legal or not, but do you remember in 1.6 with the Julies, they weren't anywhere near as good as they are in this game. Pistols have definitely been buffed. But do you remember when people used to bind fire to mouse wheel and then used to spam the mouse wheel furiously to shoot at an expedited rate? I love that. Not really. I would never exploit a game like that. But I loved being on the receiving end of online geeks who did that to me.
Well, I'm not too sure if it's viable in this game, but who knows?
I don't think it is, fortunately.
We will see a very, very passive T round coming out from Frenetic Array, as they don't want to lose that early advantage gained by winning the pistol round. So very, very cautious from Chutch here. He is taking the B platform. He does spot out Lonsdale there, that P90, shredding him to pieces. And he is instigating this attack onto B, but Aiden Hu, very, very crisp with that USPS straight into that site there as Burn struggles to connect to the server. Yellow going down, and I think it's only Burn left on that A side, as we will...
Oh, he is there. I thought he might have lagged out. No,
yeah. I think there was a period there in that round where he did lag out, so he was moving towards the wall, but he will save that deagle and will save that armor, so that will be valuable to him next round.
Now, the big thing for me, if I'm a player or a supporter of Fray, will be how well they're able to control the B side. For me, I think that's normally where matches are won and lost on Cobble. The team that are more effective at stopping that B rush, or alternatively taking B as a terrorist, I feel that's normally the determining factor in these matches. Now, we saw on the CT side that Fray were having a little bit of difficulty at B. Tried to be able to string together 10 rounds on T side. So far, Fray have shown that they've also got that ability within them on the T side to take B as well. So that'll be the key site and the key factor for me. If they can win these gun rounds at B, I think they're going to be able to, I guess, keep that momentum and carry it forward towards a victory.
You're exactly right. And just recognising early and getting that information as to whether or not they are committing to B, I think that's probably the most important point, taking control of that platform.
It can be so difficult though, can't it? With the height advantage that you get as we see the T's moving towards A here, and then they will take the site untested and unchallenged. So it should be a nice eco-round victory here, or anti-eco victory for Frenetic Array. But with that height advantage that B Gauntlet offers, it just gives you so many options as a terrorist. If you're ducking down, it can be so hard to be spotted out from the CTs. You see players often utilise smokes off the boxes to sort of wiggle their way around and pick through little tiny holes in the smokes to pick off CTs in the site. So it really favours the terrorist in that point of view. And utility is such a crucial factor for your CTs to putting pressure on the Gauntlet.
Chutch finds the opening frag in the round. Oh, so long after it began. He does find that second there. on yellow, but Break managing to pick up one of the Frenetic Array boys early, and he will be traded out by Drache. So whilst they are trying to save, they are trying to do a little bit of damage there, as Burn again will save that armor. Very important that he does, and we'll take it into the gun round.
Alright, here we go. First gun round. This is what we all wanted to see. Now, interested to see that Aiden has got out the AWP, so I think that's a big plus if you're a Trident fan. He's been doing some wonderful things with that AWP recently, online and offline. I think he's the key man on the defense here. You can see that Aiden's actually going towards the B site, so he'll be trying to lock down the B from behind the fountain or at the chicken coop. Meanwhile, the T's, though, look content to head towards A at this point. There's 4 of them heading towards A slowly. And they do win the initial exchange, so Trutch does drop one. Burn falls as well, so very quickly they've dropped both members of A. Both CTs there from Trident were very aggressive, and as a result, it's allowed the T's to move up quite quickly and gain control of this A bomb site, putting a lot of pressure on Yellow. Does drop one, though, on Drake points with one, but Yellow with the second. How are they clawing this back? It's all left up to Forge at this point. In a 1-on-2. Oh, that could be a great nade. Potentially it is. He does drop Yellow, who is on low HP. Down to a 1-on-1. Each player knows the other player's position, and as Forge just opens himself up there, standing up there with the spray, I thought it might have been his downfall. But he's just trying to catch a glimpse of Break. He does, but not quite enough. And as Break runs around very, very quickly and aggressively there, around the corner of the truck, catches Forge off guard, and crucially wins the first gun round.
Very, very tense exchange there between the two. Obviously, Forge conceded to just spraying that entire clip of his, hoping that Break would again step from beside the APC, but it wasn't to be. Break showing us why he is renowned for his ability to get behind players. But
puts a lot of pressure on the CTs though with their buy this round though, Jim. Look at what they've got to work with.
It is a very, very dirty buy, obviously. As early frags fall, Aiden, who is down, and they are going to commit numbers to this B site. So Chutch on point on that platform there, does find a second. Great work from Chutch there, sealing this site, and Forge finding another frag across the map there. Only Lonsdale left to contend with here from the CTs. He has revealed his position, and Drache will clean him up.
Oh, and if you're a CT fan, look at the economy on the counter terrace at this point. Trident, I mean, I think 3 of the members had about 1.4k. A couple of the rich members had about $2,500. They're in a really tough position here, and I think almost in a situation where they were going to have to double eco no matter what. So as a result, they've opted, which I think quite smartly, to actually buy pistols and armor. And I mean, if you're going to eco twice, you may as well at least try and put up some sort of resistance on one of the rounds. It's not to be much resistance for very long there, though. They have dropped 2, soon to be 3, I feel.
Yeah, it just depends how cheeky Yellow gets, but Chutch, again, showing us why he's on, I think, 27 frags now. That's just ridiculous from Chutch in this situation, as Lonsdale gets caught peeking Hogwarts there from Cruden, and now only Burn remaining from the CTs. And holding a very interesting position in drop room here. That Molotov obviously stopping any sort of movement out towards that B site, and unbeknownst to him, I think he's standing very, very close, or was standing very close to a T who has since moved on, and, well, that is it. I think he lagged out.
I was going to say, I was waiting for the fire to start happening, and nothing happened. I didn't know where he disappeared to for a second. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I was scratching my head. He did drop out. That's probably horrible timing to lag out. He was probably about to do a frag, or at least have a battle on his hands. But I thought he disappeared or something. I didn't know what was going on. I'm glad you're on top of it.
That's why I thought his positioning was very interesting, given that it was so open.
So open. Nowhere to hide, but somehow it looked as though from the T's perspective, Smurfy it was that he had hidden. So I was marvelling at his hide-and-seek abilities there temporarily. But we are paused while he tries to get back in. But I think to me, crucially, this match is on a knife edge. It's 11-10 in favour of Trident. But I think from a bigger picture, we're going to see Trident have to eco again this round. So very likely the scores will become level at 11 all. A bit of a tongue twister there. But all the momentum clearly in favour of Fray at this point. I mean, look at the scoreboard. They've won 5 of the last 6 rounds, or probably an easier way of putting it is they've won 5 of the 6 rounds this half. So they've got all the momentum at this point. And like we pointed out earlier on, they're doing a great job of taking this B side. Chutch in particular is absolutely killing it at the moment. 27 frags in what, 21 rounds.
Yeah, there's too sure what's going on here. I'm not too. I think they've tried to fix the situation, but they haven't actually fixed anything at all. I think Burn there is only going to spawn with $100, unfortunately. So that might mean that he is.
I think they're just trying to fix it at this point so that when he gets back into the game with that bug, that he does come back alive. And I saw of a few of the players recently showing a few fixes, one of which, as you did see him just do right then, is to join the other team, in this case Fray, and then to rechange towards the other team that you're meant to be on, in this case the CTs, and you will spawn alive. Unfortunately though for him, as you pointed out, the bug is that whilst you can now come back alive, his money situation is completely ruined. He has $100, so that when they move into next round looking to actually buy, he's going to have to make do with something suboptimal.
Suboptimal, and as we know, on a CT side, where your economy is almost always on a knife's edge, that can potentially have a devastating effect for the rounds to come. So hopefully they are able to overcome it. But I think Burn is just moving around through those A-halls like an absolute madman if you see him on the spectator. But
if I was Trident at this point of view, my sole objective for this one round right now would be to somehow salvage one of the rifles off Fray, so that next round you can drop that to Burn, so that you can afford to at least buy armor, have a rifle, maybe a nade or two. Because otherwise, there's no way that he's going to be able to afford to buy proper weaponry next round. I'd just be trying to find one gun. And you can see Trident here. He's actually dropped out of the drop room, and he's almost caught the CTs in no man's land. They're almost looking at walls. They forgot that the match is actually going on around them at this point. I'm not quite sure what we're looking at, but the T's are moving into A. Aiden does drop one there from Romeo or Juliet. Bit of both as he was jumping down and started shooting. But the T's are moving in meanwhile. But Yellow, we said that his one goal would have been to salvage one gun. Hasn't done it thus far. There's guns to get, but they're in the middle of the A site at this point in time, and that's well defended by the terrorists.
yeah, lonely man there in yellow. He's trying to do something here, but unfortunately I think it's just going to be prolonging the round at this point, and he is taken down swiftly by Draish. So CT's money not looking too great, but they are going to force a buy either way. Obviously they do want Aiden to try and get that AWP, which will be the case, and I think it's just a case of Burn having to take one for the team and take that Mag 7 without any armor, unfortunately.
No, got armor in the end. I think he was able to sort of salvage it together. But, I mean, Mag 7 is not the worst on this map. There are some close encounters, but at the moment the action's going down in mid, and very, very aggressive play by Draish to really take control of that bottom mid area there. He's now found his way to danger stairs, but crucially he's won the first battle. So we said that Trident, it was on a knife's edge, that they needed to really wrestle back some momentum, but they've already lost the first member. Meanwhile, Chuch, who's been the man of the hour this game, does try and get a frag at B, but Aiden with the AWP does pit him off, so it does square the ledger at this point. You can see, Burn with the Mag 7, he's putting it to work as well, so looks like the T's are going to, their hopes rest on this B attack at this point. There are two CTs there to greet them. Make it one as Yellow does fall, but the AWPer and Aiden is still alive, but he misses his first shot, misses his second, and he's given up control of the site. The bomb will go down. Fray, can they close this out? 3 members to 2. They use the utility to smoke off the doors. There is a flank happening, or at least there was. Cruden rips the head off Break. We've talked up his ninja skills, but Break does go down in this instance. If I'm Trident, I'm trying to save my gun. If I'm Fray, I am bolting from B side at this point in time, knowing that he's very likely to save, and I am hunting him down. At this point, they haven't yet got the confidence, I think, to go chase after him. I think they're still a bit scared that perhaps he's lurking around, maybe trying to pull off some magic, but if they could see the overlay like we could, obviously they can't, but if they could, they would be bolting for the 8 corridors.
Particularly knowing that Burns was the one that was affected by the money too, with that dropout.
I think all of Trident are affected by the money at this point, Jim.
But we will see Burn save that AK, and it'll be interesting to see how they utilise him this round, because I feel that they do need to make something happen, because they are fast running out of ideas. As you can see there, they haven't been able to really do anything on this CT side. A lone round.
Well, they put Burn, the one rifler, on his own in A mid, so a lot of responsibility for Burn to make that frag, but you can see, meanwhile, the other 4 CTs are stacked towards B, which could prove quite fruitful for them, as that's where the main attack's coming from at this point. Aiden with a nice couple of double dinks there into Dracia's head, does drop one. Lonsdale with the P250 as well, so these are important frags, because crucially it's giving, look at this, it's giving Bird an opportunity to flank, and he heard Forge coming, but couldn't quite get his crosshair on the right time. Up onto Forge's face and does fall. That could have been a round breaker right there. Burn, I feel, should have made that. He would have heard Forge coming. Would have been enough of an opportunity to position himself and steady himself for the frag, but couldn't quite do it.
Look at the HPs and the Ts, though. It is doable here for Trident. So, if they do find the heads, Break finds the one and the second. He needs the third here. He does get the third! Somehow, coming up absolutely huge for his team in a time of need. Well done, Break.
Oh, what a play. And I think he'd actually picked up the AK. Was that the AK that Burn had dropped at the bottom of mid?
I think
because he
so.
did flank around through the B halls and came up mid where Burn had actually fallen. So the AK in the end did prove to be an amazing asset, not necessarily for Burn, but for one of his teammates. 1v3 clutch, just what Trident would have needed in that situation.
Just what they need in that situation, but they need to solidify that. They need more rounds, obviously, on this CT side. They have struggled. So, if they don't find those rounds, it will go to a third map. As Burn straight into the action here. Does find Drace nice and early. That crossfire working in the underpass quite well for them. So they will back off a little bit now and retreat back in towards the A site. But Fray just taking their time and working through to that B side, and Smurfy finally regaining the courage to venture back into underpass and through those danger stairs. So I'm not too sure where Fray can go from here, but I think they are going to try and work their way back towards this A site. Aiden, obviously the man locking down that B site with the AWP.
I think they're probably just desperate for a frag at this point in time, just to try and square the ledge. And they've got one. Actually, they'll be doubly happy as they grab a second with Prudent there, dropping yellow. So all of a sudden, they've got the frag advantage. Oh, they had the frag advantage, but crucially, the offense is so split and the bomb's been left behind. So Prudent's actually dropped into the drop room, but the bomb's all the way back where he came from. And it's going to be so hard from there for him to actually get that himself. He's going to need a teammate to recover it. And with 30 seconds left, you can see Forge bolting to try and pick up that bomb and bring it towards B. But a lot of pressure on Prudent here to stay alive, to try and give Forge some clear passageway into the site, but he doesn't, he falls. And as Forge tries to retreat to A, I don't think there's enough time, Jim, is there? 12 seconds left, there's no time.
It's going to be a superhuman effort if he was ever to get there, but Lonsdale cleaning things up. I think that mistake of leaving the bomb so far back really cost Frenetic Array dearly that round. I mean, they had great position. You saw Smurfy in that A site harassing. You had Forge obviously accompanying him, and you had Cruden in that drop zone. It was theirs. The round was theirs. That bomb positioning ultimately hurt them.
Agreed. That was the deciding factor. They were in winnable positions there every day of the week, but in their effort to get the bomb, that's what cost them. But you see Burn there, spots out one, gets a second, but he knows there's more there and he wants more, but two have to settle for it at that point in time as he does fall in the end, but does give his team the advantage. And at 13-12 up, he couldn't ask for a better start to the round. He spotted at least one or two more members, so he would have called that out to his team, but Cruden does take down one of the rotators. But Lonsdale here, look at this sneaky little position now. Quite common, but also quite commonly not checked. So if they're not careful at this point in time, if they're too eager to get that bomb down, Lonsdale might be able to step out and win the round for Trident at this point. They're definitely committed to A, using their smokes well, but Chuch, will he check the back right corner? Will he check it? He is going to check it, and it does make the frag, so great play by Chuch. Brings up his 30, I think it was. He's on 31 now, actually, but none more crucial than that as he does check the site, down to a 2-on-2 as Yellow busts through the doors and drops one in mid there. Both teams stranded in the middle of the site, but they are still able to make it work for them, despite their bad positions, down to a 1-on-1. Yellow versus Chuch. Jumps up onto the roof, is spotted, falls down behind, the spray goes down, but Yellow able to win it out for his team. 14-12, Trident, they're on the verge here. 2 more rounds, and their spot in the grand final would be secured.
And that is an absolutely monumental effort from Chuch, though. 31 frags for his team. They do need him to step up in this situation, though, because Trident One more round and they are on match point, and Fray out of Division 2 season, I think it's CGPL Season 4 finals.
These rounds are coming down to the wire though, aren't they? The last 2 rounds just felt like they could have gone either way. We saw a 1v1. There was a 3v3 that we felt Fray probably should have won as well, were it not for the bomb placement. This is very, very tight. And it looks as though the T's here. Fray gonna try out drop room, but Yellow with the good positioning. Drops one, makes it a second. Great play there and great crosshair movement. Able to swivel quickly onto Chuch's head, and the danger man has been dropped.
He has been dropped, but more importantly, if you look at Trident's positions, they have great position, whereas Fray are just separated at this point. And again, that bomb is down, and I think it'll be Forge that will have to go back and get that bomb before they are to take this B site, because... Well, sorry, not Forge. Draish, go back to get that bomb. But Forge doing great work in that drop room there, but not before the bomber is flanked by Burn. So Forge will now have to go 1-on-3 to win this round for his team. He does know where Burn is. He will be able to pick up that frag, but he only has 30 seconds to work with. And the CTs have recognized this. They are pouring numbers onto this site here. All 2 of them that are left are on this site. And Forge is spotted. He will need to take this fight here with Break if he is to get this bomb down. And he does spot the head of Break, but opts to try and find that second CT. He knows he's lurking around the site, but the AWP of Aiden, who tried and tested, comes up trumps.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Could we be seeing our first finalist for CGPL Division 2? Trident are on the verge. They've got 3 attempts here to close it out in regular time. They've got complete control. They've actually won the last 4 rounds. So having lost so many in a row at the beginning of the half, they found a magic formula, and at this point, it's working for them. I think they've been able to just get these early frags in mid. Burn in particular has been stepping up and stopping any A aggression. They need 5 more frags, and they'll be the first finalists that we can lock in at this point in time. A lot of pressure on the guys from Fray here.
You're right, but what an exciting thought. I can't even get that out, but frags have gone down already, and it is now a 4v4 with Burn being traded out. Lonsdale found out in the middle there, but Yellow with that P90 finding the frag of Chuch across at that other site. And geez, it is very, very tense moments here as Fray need to find a way into that A site. They have committed numbers here, and they are going to continue pressing up towards mid. They do have a man at the stables there. Forge unfortunately has been flashed, and Yellow with that P90 making an absolute menace of himself, but not before he's traded, and now a 2v2 situation with Forge bleeding internally. And they are locking these CTs out of the side, but that bomb is down. Burn with a crucial frag here. Draish not able to do anything, and that sends Trident straight through to the CGPL Division 2 Grand Final.
Trident, the team that barely scraped through in the regular season. I mean, they finished 4th in their group. They've done the hard yards here. They've scraped through. They took down the undefeated Elite crew in the quarterfinals in an epic 4-hour display. They've taken down the powerhouse of Fray, albeit a team that will officially, I guess, cease to exist in its current form, but a powerhouse by any means. They have earned their way through to the final. What a display by Trident. Unbelievable. 2 maps to 0. Quite convincing as well, let's be honest. Even though the scoreline on the second map was quite close, Mirage, the first map, was an absolute blowout. Well played to Trident.
Yeah, well played to Trident, and, well, props to Frenetic Array, though. They really did step it up for a lot of the second half of that map. I mean, they looked down and out after that first half of Cobble. Obviously, they were, you know, I guess, stomped for better terms on Mirage.
Yep.
That second map, though, they really dug deep and they started to believe that they could do it. And, I mean, I saw Trident on the back foot there. They really did have to wrestle back the lead and eventually take out the map.
Well, just like you're saying, I mean, first half score on the second map, Cobble, was 10-5 in favour of Trident. Now, at 1 point in the second half, Fray were up 12 rounds to 11. They actually had taken the lead for the first time in the match. And that was probably the point where they had started to believe, look, guys, we're making this comeback work. But there were a couple of heartbreaking rounds for them, weren't there? I think around that sort of mark where there was a 3-on-3 where they had fantastic position and control of both bomb sites. Unfortunately for them, the bomb was left about a kilometre back in spawn, and that really wrecked their chances. The following round, we saw Yellow win a 1v1 for Trident. So it's just a matter, I think, for Fray of what could have been.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking way to see your season end, and 9 weeks of hard-fought action really over like that. But that's how it goes. That's the story.
That's how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately, and that's how brutal the final series can be. So there will be no second bite of the cherry for Frenetic Array. That will be their last hurrah, as they said earlier in the day. So unfortunately, they are out of the competition, and Trident through the grand final, which will be played at some point, I believe, next week.
Yeah, it's probably worth showing the bracket, because the other semi-final will be tomorrow night. That will be between Vice Gaming and Aura. Probably 2 surprise packages, in my opinion, at least anyway. So Trident now, I guess, have the luxury of being able to sit back, wait and see how the action unfolds tomorrow night, see who they'll be versing, and then start to, I guess, prepare, maybe have an extra day or a little bit of a head start to prepare and make sure that they're in the right place and the right state of mind for that grand final. But they've thoroughly earned their trip to the grand final.
Definitely. I mean, we saw them do it tough last week. Didn't do it as tough this week, but they still were forced to wrestle back that lead from Frenetic Array. So, I mean, you know, they are worthy competitors of Division 2 and definitely worthy competitors of the grand final.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've seen them do amazing things offline in the LAN environment, like the ACL Melbourne, where they made the grand final, knocking over Div 1 teams along the way. So, definitely a worthy contender for the grand final. And you'd have to say probably almost the favourite at this point in time, based on what we've seen so far in the season and in the playoffs. So I think it'll be a tough ask for whoever they do come up against, but Trident looking the form at this point.
Definitely. Now, I just quickly checked our Twitch there, and
how many followers? Have we hit the 750? Is the golden coil going tonight?
No, we haven't hit the 750, but if you haven't hit the follow button already, do hit that, because that might bump it up within range.
Yeah, hit it up, guys. We're hoping if we hit 750, as a little thank you to you guys at home, we will be giving away a golden coil from my own personal inventory, just to thank you for your support that you've shown us over the last few months since we've started to get into the groove of this casting. Fear not, though, if in the next couple of minutes, whilst I ramble on, we haven't hit 750. I think we're about 50 short at this point in time, so it is looking unlikely. Brucey from Cyber Gamer Community, the admin that you might recognise him, or also from Team Immunity, has donated, the legend has kindly donated a minimum wear Cyrex Colt. Current market value, I think, is about 20 to 25 US dollars. So we will give that away. What's the exact follower count looking at this point in time?
I haven't been able to pull it up because
I'll pull it up. If there's no chance, if there's no reasonable chance of hitting 750 tonight, we'll just run with the Cyrex. I feel I'll have a quick check. We're at 695, so we're 55 away. So
55 away.
I think it's probably unrealistic for tonight. So for tonight, let's do the Cyrex. We'll save the golden coil hopefully for tomorrow night with the other semi-final. So we might. I think you've done that. You're in your inventory, don't you? We might bring that up on stream for everyone at home, just so they know what they're in the running for.
We'll bring that up in just a second. But Minware Cyrex.
So thank you so much.
Sticker on it.
Does have a sticker. Thank you so much to Brucey. Had the privilege of meeting him at ACL Melbourne. He came and introduced himself. I'd never actually met him before, and he recognised his alias, but a very, very nice, kind member of the community who has actually volunteered at that Nationals to help, I guess, run alongside Commando and admin some of the games, and taking out his own time for no gain or no financial reimbursement, and just for the love of the game was donating his time for something that he was passionate about. So a wonderful member of the community, and we thank you so much, Brucey, for donating that skin for us so that we can give it away tonight. We really appreciate that.
That is good to go. So I just showed it before on stream while you were talking about how much of a legend Brucey is. But
what's the keyword going to be?
I think the keyword for tonight, I'll just bring it up on the stream here.
Yeah, people love to see and make sure that we're not rigging this. I know that there was a lot of contention last cast where one of our moderators won one of our giveaways, but that's the luck of the draw, people. We're not rigging anything. We'll just make sure
not rigging anything.
No. Look, honestly, if we were rigging it, we wouldn't have given it to Crowbar. Like, seriously. Would have been given it to another friend, not Crowbar.
Yeah,
that's
people, Crowbar.
Yeah. Of all people, please.
Gone ham on Twitter this week.
He's not even global, he's supreme. Come on.
Alright, so the keyword for that one there, because we were close, we'll go close. So exclamation mark close is the keyword.
Close, to reflect the fact that we were so close to that 750 milestone. Now that golden coil, you've probably got a couple of minutes here, guys, so I'll keep talking. Exclamation mark close to be in the running. You must be following. If you're not following and your name gets pulled out, we will redraw it. But that golden coil is still up for grabs. It wasn't a do or die tonight sort of thing. It will carry over. So there is still time. We are casting the next semi-final, which will be Aura vs Vice Gaming tomorrow night. Our coverage will start at 7:45 p.m. daylight savings time, so that's for New South Wales and Victoria. Queensland people will be 6:45 p.m. If you're from somewhere else, you work it out, because I'm not good like that. But 7:45 p.m. daylight savings time tomorrow night, and that will determine who will meet Trident in the grand final, and they will have a tough ask for them. But I mean, we saw that both teams have had a tough run to get to the semi-finals. They've knocked over some big names like Atletico and Cypher, so they've earned their spots in that semi. So they're no pushovers by any stretch of the imagination.
Definitely, and look, you know, there have been some really cracking games this season. So I mean, we're looking forward to bringing more of that action.
Yes, definitely.
The Australian community, and I mean, I'm personally pumped to be bringing a final series. I mean, it's something that, you know, you and I have never really done before. So
we've been in final series. Just to be clear, we've played in final series. Just so
we never broadcasted them before.
We haven't broadcasted them, so this is the first for us. Some of us have played in more than others.
Well, yeah, okay. I'll stand up and say yes. I played in more than you.
That's Jim. Let's have a close look at Jim's face. Does that look like an honest face to you? No, it doesn't. I think the people know who the better player is, but I'll bring up the noodle. Oh yeah, the noodle stopwatch.
You're so trustworthy behind those glasses, mate. All right.
Oh! What are we giving them? 2 minutes or 1? We've got 2 minutes.
What's the noodle counter like? We've got 38 people in the draw, so at the moment you have a 1 in 38. We'll go
3 minutes. We'll go 3 minutes. So the noodle stopwatch has officially started. 3 minutes. Must be following. ! Close. What I'm going to do while you talk is I'm going to let people know on Twitter, just so all of our supporters have an opportunity to get in the draw. So you talk for a second whilst I let people know that they're potentially about to miss out.
Well...
I'll try to type quietly as well.
What do we want to talk about, Noodle? Like, what do we want to talk about?
Talk about what you're expecting from the grand final. I mean, so much on the line for these teams, and they haven't necessarily played. I mean, Trident have actually. They played in a grand final at Melbourne, but in the online scene, I think this could be the first final for them and potentially for their competitor.
Definitely, and I think, you know, whichever team does join Trident will have to do their homework too, because we've seen, I mean... We called out Frenetic Array for being absolute madmen for leaving Mirage in the pool. I mean, we saw throughout the regular season that Trident was so strong on Mirage and obviously Cache. I mean, they did veto... Well, they didn't veto either, to be honest. They left Trident's strongest maps in the pool. So, come on, Dan. I thought you were better than that. I thought you would have paid attention to our pre-games and our analysis a little bit more than not evidently... unless, of course, you were confident on those maps. But look, it is going to be an absolute spectacle between the two teams that do make it. Obviously, whoever comes up against Trident are going to have their work cut out for them, because you are not going to get a chance to play a knife round at all.
That's probably a good thing. If you're coming up against them, it's a good thing. You don't get your choice of... Maybe that's the surprise package Trident will bring out for the finals. Maybe that'll be the change where they actually do test the knife rounds. Yeah. They could catch their enemies completely off guard, but... The Noodle stopwatch says we've currently, hopefully you can see that, currently got 1:15 left. So if you're not in the draw...
1 in 40.
1 in 40 chance to win a Colt or M4A1S Cyrex, which has kindly been donated by Brucey. We really appreciate that, and all the other donations. That's so kind. Everything that's given to us goes back towards the community. It's not for us. Must be following the stream as well. ! Close, to suggest or to reflect the fact that we were so close to that 750 follower milestone, which we're aiming for tonight. But when we do hit that, hopefully tomorrow night's cast, we will be giving away a M4A1S Golden Coil. But the stopwatch, you can read it because I can't when I hold it up in front of me. I think it's about 35 seconds.
Yeah, 35, 34, 33.
Got to be in it to win it, boys. It better not go to Crowbar again, because there will be revolts. 1 in 41 chance at a $25 skin, I believe.
There are 20 viewers out there that are not entered into this giveaway. I don't know
why
you...
What are you doing?
Certainly you're not listening to the content that we deliver, because at the moment there isn't any.
I'm glad that they're not in it then. If they've muted our stream, I'm glad they're not in the giveaway. Not at all. Okay, Jim, I'll hold it up. You can do the official roll. This is how long left.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the roll is live. DVO Zing.
DVO Zing. Oh, at least it's not a moderator. Okay, first thing checked. DVO Zing, congratulations, buddy. You've won a Colt Cyrex donated by Brucey. So if you're kind enough to send us through your Steam trade link via private message, just send it to the Peanut Gallery TV account on Twitch.
He's got
We'll
a
send
minute
that
to
to you
respond,
straight after this is done.
Got a
Yeah, you
minute
got to
to
respond within a minute. Got to type something, anything in the chat just to let us know that you're there and that you're not a bot or an AFK or something like that. How long has he got to respond?
30 seconds.
Oh, pressure's on. This could be a reroll.
Could be. If it's Crowbar, it's definitely a reroll.
What's his name? DVO10?
Ozing.
DVO Zing. You've got how long left to respond? Type something in the chat, buddy. Otherwise, we
15
reroll.
seconds.
Oh, this is pressure.
Oh no, he responded.
Responded.
He's here.
Congratulations. Please send us through your Steam trade offer or Steam trade link to the Peanut Gallery TV Twitch account, and we will send you your Colt Cyrex minimal wear straight after this stream is done. So thank you so much. Congratulations, buddy.
Yep.
But thank you also to Brucey for donating that. We really appreciate that. But
Excellent.
that's probably about it from us, isn't it, Jim?
That's it for us tonight because unfortunately there are no more semi-finals to cast tonight.
No, the next one will be tomorrow night. And just to reiterate, Aura vs Vice starting at 7:45 p.m. daylight savings time. If you're from Queensland, subtract an hour, 6:45 p.m.
And other than that, I guess congratulations to Trident for being the first team qualified for the final.
Woohoo! Guaranteed prize money. 1,500 first place, 800 for second. So they've got some good stuff coming their way no matter what.
Well, look, it's been an absolutely gorgeous evening. There's been some, good Counter-Strike that's been played. But without much further ado, I think that is us for this evening. So if you'd like to lead us out there, Nick, with our signature sign out now.
Oh, I'm PK.
And I'm Jim and Esso.
And we like our peanuts assaulted.
Assaulted.
Thanks, guys. I'm back for special demand. I just wanted to give a massive shout out. I've just seen Boyles 1 minute ago. Thank you so much. Boyles from Tainted Minds has just donated $10 towards the stream, asking, "Am I too late for the giveaway?" Unfortunately, yes, you are, Boyles. But thank you so much for the donation. We really do appreciate that. Thank you. I'm sorry that we missed that before. I was waving at the camera, trying to get Jim's attention to bring me back. But no, thank you very much, Boyles from Tainted Minds. That's so kind, and we really do appreciate that, mate. Thanks, buddy. Good night.